How are we doing? Sin Faust, Matt, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. Tell me if I need to speak up as usual. I'm sure I'm quiet. But it's update 4 day. Everything is live. I have the train DLC as well. Pretty excited about that. So, so let's do this. Let's hop into, nice. Let's hop into the corn base. So I've got a couple to-dos, so to speak, or things I'm excited to do. So let's see. It's probably going to be a long load here. Yeah, while we get in here for the first time. But a few things I want to do. I think the first thing I want to do before we even unpause is there's a ton of very cool stuff. I'm very curious where it is in the tech tree and what it costs. There's a big difference in bridges if they're available early and cheap versus expensive late. Same thing with all the new trains and everything like that. So I think the first thing we're gonna do, like I said, before we unpause, is just take a look, take stock. I think we'll probably want to build a whole bunch of amphibious vehicles too, quickly, because I don't know, how else are you gonna build a bridge to another island? And also they're kind of their own highlight, I think, in a lot of ways. And then I think we're going to need to do a bunch of infrastructure for the new trains. Like the nuclear trains, I realize we're not even going to be able to test out in this save file. I mean, we have the other one from our update 3 normal style playthrough, so we'll swap over to that at some point and try that out as well. But yeah, there's so much good stuff. What are y'all most excited about? I am happy to take direction too and show off whatever people want to focus on. But I figured we're all excited about a lot of the same things. So how's that sound for a plan? My goodness, yeah, this is taking 3 to 4 times as long as as the normally loads. I think this is all the save compatibility work that they did behind the scenes to make sure everything else is functional. And it mostly looks like it is. Mostly sounds like it is. I've got one ocean access issue over here. Sure, I never understood how we got away with this for so long, frankly. I'm sure we'll replace that somewhere else. And close to being blocked over here, that feels like probably a liquid dump issue that we can adjust as well, especially because, you know what, let's just clean this up. We're not building any aluminum at all right now, and it's not the point. So let's just clear that all out and get rid of those notifications. Cool. Just happy to be here. Man, tell me about it. You know, it's so funny. Today, outside in the Northeast US, which is where I am based, it is gorgeous outside. It is the first day of spring in terms of vibes. And we've been under 3 feet of snow for the last 2 months, and I could care less. All I want to do is spend this whole day inside playing with all the new stuff. So, Stacker Tower, good. This is the new stacker. This feels reasonable. It's gated by construction parts 3, and it looks like literally everything, new tech-wise, is. So it probably costs steel or something, and some workers, some maintenance, and some power. Okay, I think I'm okay with that. And amphibious vehicles are blocked behind large vehicles. Okay, sure, that makes sense. And so therefore, so are bridges. Interesting. Okay. I have a feeling that's what we'll want to research first. Trains 2. Tier 2 trains. Of course, they're behind trains, but then another Research Lab 2 barrier. Behind advanced smelting as well as a prereq. Okay, interesting. Reasonable. Oh, and then they've got, okay, so hydrogen amphibious vehicles. Ooh, and our entire setup on this island is hydrogen. Are further blocked here. Oh, interesting. Is this the Tier 1 hydrogen locomotive? That has been moved, hasn't it? So, I mean, we technically can't build hydrogen locomotives right now. But, our entire base is already hydrogen locomotives. So I guess that's a new... Was it? I guess that was just part of hydrogen... Or that was just part of trains in general. Well, that makes sense. Of course, you should have to have hydrogen vehicles before you should have to have hydrogen trains. I don't think I ever even noticed that wasn't true in the first place. Fascinating. We can stop reducing train pollution. And then diesel locomotive 2, interesting, is behind mega vehicles, but trains 2 is not. Okay, so trains 2 just gets you big steam locomotives and big trailers, right? Yeah, okay. So in order to get, that's interesting. They broke out diesel being later, essentially behind the mega vehicles. That's interesting. And then hydrogen locomotives even further behind that. So we have a lot of tech actually that we're going to have to pick up here before we can use any of it. And then let's see. So like the train DLC stuff, does it have its own? I'm looking for like electric trains and such. I'm wondering if it must be under something else that we already have researched. Maybe just like normal trains or something. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I think these are all placed at reasonable spots, and the tweaks that I've noticed so far are also reasonable. So we've got some researching to do, for sure. I think we start with amphibious vehicles and bridges, and we'll queue up all the rest of the train tech after that, I guess, right? Or you know what we should do, actually? Well, we have to, our whole base runs on hydrogen, so we'll make sure that those are hydrogen amphibious vehicles. Why not? I don't want to slow us down, but we should grab it. And then we'll go trains. And I guess we don't. Yeah, we do. We'll need hydrogen big trains. Anyway, enough tech tree staring. Let's see. What else can we take a peek at? I think we're going to need to probably just let some research run. So let's do that and then find out what around the base is broken. We can probably... Oh, this is new. All right, so ship pathfinding is new as well. Wow, fun lagging save there. I'm going to unload our ship for now, actually, to save us on the workers. But ship pathfinding is like readjusted as well, right? So you can actually have like inland docks and such as a result. I'm very curious to see how that works. I don't think we're set up to take advantage of that because we didn't build this base with that in mind, because how would you? It wasn't functional before, but it is something to keep in mind. And what else did I want to do? I have a little 30 seconds before I logged on, brain dump list of things that I wanted to take care of here. I have this thought about bridges that we won't be able to test until we have bridges, obviously. People bury pipes because they want to be able to run a road over top of it, essentially, so that you don't have to ramp everything like I tend to do. Essentially, when your pipe infrastructure intersects with where your trucks want to be, my solution is a ramp. And I think that was their intended solution, but people also bury pipes. To me, like, if you ever need to fix it, you got to dig it up. That's a whole pain in the butt. But I could see, and you can't do this with ramps as far as I know, although actually, now that I think about it, I've never tested it, you can't dig like a channel, like a little, where you would start to bury your pipes, but then run a ramp over top of it. So I'm wondering if you can run a bridge over top of it, and if that sort of obsoletes at least part of the rationale for burying pipes. I'm sure some of it's also an aesthetic thing for folks, but that one I'm curious about. So that's one thing I do want to test. And then building stats. Yes, I'm super excited about this. So somewhere around here, perfect. Look at this. We get building stats. I have been jonesing for this for so long. So this will tell you like, oh yeah, it's working right now, but it's actually only been working like 10% of the time. You don't need to add another machine. You need to figure out why the first one you already have isn't working so much. So I'm very curious about this. Monthly productivity, 61%. So cool. It'll tell you why it's not working too. At least it looks like. So working, except output is full. So, all right, and that makes sense. Green is good. Green means go. Blue is, well, it's not working, but it's not a bad thing. I'm assuming like lack of an input good will come up, I don't know, orange or something. Let's poke around and look at some other machines. How does this look? Is there anything that's actually broken here? Can't really test because our base is so perfectly operational. There it is. Missing input products, orange. There we go. And I bet like not having any power, or in this case, enough compute, pops up red or something. This is great. It's like a great visually intuitive, like, oh, it's not working, but who cares? It's because it's full. Oh, it's not working because I need to fix something. That's fantastic. I'm very excited about that. Elegant Bogan, can't stay for long as it's 4 a.m. Oh my God. Good luck, Godspeed. You've got work soon. Just want to drop in, save, and binge in the content lately. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, good luck with work. I hope it goes well for you and you're able to rush on home and try the game out with the new update if that is what you want to do afterwards. But if you're up early, maybe not. I don't know. I get that. Good luck, mate. Thanks for dropping in. 4 a.m. start's a rough one. Give you that. So this is new too. Allows building vehicles such as... Is this just like an info tip? And if I hold Alt... Oh, brilliant. It pins. Oh my God. I love this. So this is like something that a lot of games are starting to finally adopt. I don't know that like Paradox Games invented it, but I first saw it. These sort of, you can pin a tooltip and then work like hover over to a nested tooltip. I first noticed these in like CK3 and Victoria 3 and a bunch of other similar games have started doing this. I love this, pinned nested tooltips. I'm holding Alt to keep this up, and now I can, interact with it. Usually there's like another tooltip that pops up if you hover over something else, and you can just sort of pull all these up. I love that as a UI thing. I'm so curious about what other stuff we're gonna discover here that they haven't headlined, but that they have snuck in. They did that last time too. So the other thing, yes, this one I'm very excited about. You can now have storages only be serviced by particular types of trucks. And for example, all of our mining, here, let's go to a mining outpost. Our mining outpost, like rock disposal. I really hate when a little truck comes over and does this. And I think the truck network is decent at prioritizing sending haul trucks over. But here's the thing. Now, it's not about prioritizing. You can only dump rock after these guys have finished their trip, I'm sure, going forward. You can only dump rock here with big trucks. That's the whole point of having a big storage, that you don't have to worry about it so aggressively. So that is fantastic. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be so helpful. I bet that fixes a lot of like truck network inefficiency. Not enough maintenance 1 does seem like something that should probably interrupt our focus. And, ooh, let's diagnose the problem. Not enough input. Although actually, I think this is fundamentally, we're undershooting here, aren't we? Nope, not enough input. All right, cool. So it's because we are missing mechanical parts. Let's see what's going on. Not enough input. And that's because, that's right, I paused allowing the export of our manufactured from primary ore iron because our recycling was getting backed up, because that's how we send back a lot of our iron recycling. And that was all true because we weren't consuming anything really at the research lab, which also needs a ton of iron-derived mechanical parts. Cool. So look at that. It's already helping us diagnose issues more quickly. So let's boost to get through and hope that we didn't just break the save right as we're trying to, try stuff out. Very good. Who is still close to being blocked? So like, does this overview help us at all? Not really. I actually don't care if it's close to being blocked. We're not going to make it worse. Close is not a problem, I guess. So let's let it go. And it's also, by the way, oh, that's cute. It's like a new like ocean spray mechanic. Yeah, it's on all of these. I mean, it doesn't really work for a boat that's sitting still, but I like the idea. Building stats are going to save so much time chasing down production problems. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And like not just time, but frustration, like qualitatively and quantitatively. It makes troubleshooting so much better. So much better. It actually kind of makes it almost fun. I mean, you'd rather something just work, but troubleshooting is part of the game, right? So having that be more smooth and intuitive and like that's going to be so much better. I'm very excited about that. All right, what else should we do while we're researching? This is where I'm starting to, it's too bad. I liked that we were a lean 2 research lab base in this playthrough, but we do have a lot of research now to quickly do. Are we getting... Oh, here, let's check our downtime. Not enough input goods. What's your issue? Not enough input goods. And is that because... Where are we bottlenecking here? Yeah, it's in the lab equipment 2s. And you are... Oh, yeah, that's right. It's this cascading issue with the mechanical parts that we already sorted. I do wish it said what input good, right? So here it's like, I can go figure it out. In fact, it might be very visually obvious just glancing down at the recipe. But if I... Oh, and I can't... That's too bad. I was trying to pin this up with Alt as well, but it does go away. Too bad. But if I come up here, it doesn't tell me during this period what was it that's going on. Like if I've got an intermittent issue, but it's not active right this second, I can't exactly diagnose it. Although this is obviously a very good first step. Okay, well, cool. That is still very nice to see. And I think we're more or less caught up over here. Let's just go ahead and tell these guys to turn that back up, and we'll come back and deboost all of those guys in a moment. Very good. All right, what else do we want to take a look at? So, yes, we can diagnose issues with building stats. Wonderful. We did this already as well. And that we'll continue to take a peek at over the course of the afternoon, I'm sure. So, what else is new here? This looks new. Is that bar now illustrates its maintenance condition? That I don't recognize that. I could be wrong. And then, cool. These look kind of new as well, right? So it's got the total volume of cargo transported. Is that like historical stats? Distance traveled? Cool. This kind of exposes the train system a little bit more, which is definitely good. I still have to figure out over time what to make of these stats and how to use them, but I think one of my sort of points of feedback around the Update 3 release of the train system was like, they've made it really smooth and intuitive in the sense that like it just works without a lot of intervention, but they did that by kind of like not exposing all of the system to the user, and you know, in order to not overwhelm you, presumably. But I personally would rather be overwhelmed with stats and at least understand the system better than not. So that's actually, in my mind, also a step in the right direction as well. So now I'm curious, can we actually build hydrogen locomotives since we don't have the tech? I guess so. This is a new interface as well. It's simplified over here visually, which I like. Compare and swap designs. Interesting. So if I want to upgrade a train, this would have been really helpful. I spent the last like episode or so of this playthrough swapping all of our steam locomotives over to hydrogen. And it seems like if I say, so like if I draw up and say, yeah, of all of my, oops, because I want these up here, huh? So undo that, all right. So if I want everything that looks like this to swap over to, I don't know, let's just say a diesel locomotive. Is that how this works? Compare and swap designs, or is this just like, oh, so I can take a peek? Oh, I do like this. This will help me illustrate. So for example, someone was asking in the comments of a video the other day to explain my, the point I was trying to make around, oh geez, our Unity cascade. Hang on a sec. What's going on? Household goods, consumer electronics. Well, we don't have consumer electronics. Let's see. What's your problem? Steel. What's your problem? Let's diagnose. Ooh. No, we have enough. It's just no water? Yeah, no water. Interesting. Did I break this? Of course I did. I destroyed all those pumps. They weren't just supporting the aluminum. Whoops. Actually, it's not pump, it's dump. Oh yeah, there's this new search feature, so you can find all of the dumps on the map, which is neat. Oh, and this is new. These are higher throughput. These liquid dumps, these used to be 60, and it drove me nuts that they were only 60. Oh, that's awesome. I love that because you have like 7 of these things running along here and they don't need to take up as much space as they do. So cool. All right, so this is going to make our dock angry again, but I wonder, oh, this only needs to be a 2, but I wonder if this, uh-oh, is going to help. All right, so let's maybe turn this on to absorb some of this. I don't know. Anyway, I got distracted. So household goods steel, we can fix that in the meanwhile with just a big dumb loan, right? Let's do that. Just grab 3K. What do you mean? Oh, right. We destroyed our trading dock. Oh man, cascading issues, right? First thing I do, hop in, break a bunch of things, and then try to move on. Oh, that's a new interface as well. It tells you where it needs to be available. That's neat. Okay, and so this is so much more helpful. Oh my god. Look at this. You can actually plan your coastlines better. It shows you where the access has to be preserved. Oh man, fantastic. Well, I can now exactly see the issue, right, with our previous location. Cool. So if we put it here, we should be fine. Let's do that. And make it extremely urgent. All right. Anyway, we can save some unity there and get back to the conversation we were having, I think, which was what? I have no idea. Goody. Hey. How are you? I think I found something around dumps and pumps, sir. But yeah, this is great. So this should hopefully catch up our water supply, which should fix our steel issue. Very good. Doing the same thing, breaking stuff and trying to fix it. Had to move my trading post as well. Yeah. I there's save compatibility and then there's build save compatibility. It's good. I mean, I sort of assume that the first thing we would have to do is fix some stuff, but honestly, it's awesome that like fundamentally we don't have to start over. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing that, right? We're gonna do an update 4 playthrough that's gonna be very fun, but it's nice to just be able to test the new stuff out in existing playthroughs. And I know a lot of people do the like I have one save thing, and it's like a gorgeous like work of art Zen garden that they've spent 1,500 hours on. And that would be infuriating to lose every time there's an update. So I think it's good that they prioritize that. So we have amphibious vehicles. Maybe we should take a look. Do we build them here? We do. Okay. So these will have to be diesel to start. We'll swap over in a moment. Let's see. Matt, yeah, what are your thoughts on amphibious vehicles? Think it'll solve some of the pain points around the coast? 100%. So let's test them out. I will tell you exactly what I think in a moment, but I really think from just a design perspective, I'm very excited. So if nothing else, I really hate sand deposits like this, right? That you only even discover technically are a sand deposit by having to fill them in. If nothing else, I'm happy about that. But it's also very funny how they kind of backed into it because they had to do that for bridges to be able to build, because you have to be able to flatten the surface over there. So that's kind of a entertaining way to back into it. But I did enjoy that. Okay, now that we have a trading dock, can we finally please fix this? All right, good. Thinking, yeah, it's me. I had 200 hours in single save so far. Yep. Yeah, I like that. I do a little bit like my attention span. Restartitis, right? When you're learning a new game and you like you're like, oh, now I understand this. I learn, I know how I want to do this. I want to like start from scratch and incorporate everything I've learned. I'm a little bit like that, but with like playthroughs in general, because I don't know, I just like want to try out a new concept. I'm like, oh, neat. It turns out that you can. I didn't think about the implication of using this recipe or that recipe or whatever. And I really enjoy like starting a new build, right? So like for me, I don't know, it's not the way that I play, but it's not a judgment. Nothing is better or worse or whatever. But I do recognize like that's a huge part of this type of games in general. It's not just Factorio or Captain of Industry or Satisfactory. It's like all of those games. You have a sandbox, you have your sandcastle. It'd be a bummer if you had to knock it over every time, right? So that's good. All right, this, I think we're just gonna We have to refuel here somehow. I'd rather not wait for 18 Unity. Reset him so he doesn't break the whole train network. How are we doing here? Anything else that's like mission critical I should be paying attention to instead of getting caught up? I think we're okay. Yeah, this is fine. It'll tell me if it's ever fully toast, but I think we'll be okay there. Rest of that message supposed to be, I don't know if I would have preferred some sort of simplified dredge system with barges, etc. Yeah, I'm kind of curious, right? Because they didn't have to solve it that way. It's interesting that it solved a few different problems at once for them. I mean, that's how they presented it. I think it's also like probably how they came about it. But you're right, like there are different ways they could have done it. I think it's kind of fun. Like I'm waiting for us to see it here, but I'm like kind of just generally excited to, I don't know, watch trucks go on water. Like it's just kind of a fun solution, not just not just like a functional one, an intelligent one, although I think it is also that. It's like, I don't know, it's cute as hell. Look at this thing. He's gonna go out on the water. That's fun as hell. All right, so how do we tell it to do a thing? Oh, and we just got a bridge. Okay, let's pause and take a look at bridges. We just got the bridge tech. Ooh, it's got its own icon and everything. Cool. So we've got truss bridges. Okay, so it's going to be something like the rail building system, it seems, right? So if we go like, okay, so we can go up. What are all of these X's? What is this information we're getting here? I think it must be about like what is possible to extend to, right? I think green must be like, if you build here, that's where you can build further. I honestly don't know. Interesting. Let's just put something down and take a look at it. And then say, come on, back down, I guess. How do we Q to come back down? No? So can it just not do the whole like ramp up, ramp down thing, or am I not doing enough? Curious. All right, let's start from somewhere else. I wonder if, for example, like if we went from here, well, we're going to give an amphibious vehicle a task anyway, so let's go out like this, maybe? Do we what, rotate it? Yep. That warning looked like ships won't be able to go underneath it or something. Yeah, so see that red? No ships. Failed to find bridge. All right, so we need a little bit more height, right? I guess that's the point of the warnings. Can I hold shift for straight? There we go. All right, here we go. Now we're onto the island. You know what I'd love? In Satisfactory, when you're building and you want to like evaluate a blueprint or something that you're about to set down, you can press H to hold it in place and then look around. I have to like click in the mouse wheel and scroll around. That would be a nice little bit of building UI. Oh. All right, so it looks like that will, oh, that's what the two icons are. Cargo ships are green, they can fit, but our boat, the battleship, cannot. It has a higher clearance, apparently. And that makes sense, and is also fine. We actually only need the battleship to be able to go out one place, I guess. Okay. Well, let's build it high enough anyway, though. And then come on down here. Where do we bring this thing down? Like so. We gotta go down one more level. This is a terrible spot to descend. Like this is possible, obviously. Not really ideal, but I could care less. We're building our first bridge, right? Let's see. So I think, so you can make these road or train track. And I guess road's interesting because they don't actually have like roads, right? So is road here just the absence of train track and therefore you can navigate it? I would love if they had actual roads. That would be super cool. I mean, you see, I just paint them. So, but let's see. All right, so let's say, well, sure, we'll do one train. Actually, it'll be more expensive to build a train track. And we're not running a train here necessarily. Right now, we would just be exploring the island. So let's just say road, and sorry, but I am right-hand drive. That's not so bad. 300 steel, 200 concrete for that distance? That's not as expensive as I thought it would be. So let's get that going. Oh, that's just that segment. Oh, it's way more expensive than that. Oh my God. All right. So for example, if we do go to build all of it. No. Okay. How is that not more? I'm curious. Just a few hundred. Okay. Never mind. Sure it's not segment by segment? Yeah, it is. Okay. It's definitely segment by segment. All right, so that's 600. All right, so this is going to be a huge, ridiculously expensive undertaking. And we definitely now, as a result, need to make sure that our steel output is optimized because that's going to be rough otherwise. We're full right this second, which makes sense. We got a whole bunch. All right, amphibious vehicle struggling to reach a spot. Oh, so they have to be able to hit the water. So we do need like a ramp down to the water. That's interesting and makes sense. That's intuitive. We can make that happen. We're gonna have to dump some stuff though. So let's, I guess, start here and say, go for it, right? I think that's reasonable. Let's find out. You like that it's quite expensive in a way. A lot of people complaining about filling ocean not being required anymore. Totally, totally agree. I am glad that this is in the game and expensive. It would have been such a bummer if they finally fixed stackers right at the same time that they obsoleted them entirely, you know? So I'm happy to see this as well, for sure. Yeah, it's just not my favorite aesthetic thing. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm like pretty happy actually that that it is expensive. I was surprised there and not in a good way. So agreed keeps the filling mechanic viable. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So like this is one use case for bridges, right? The, connecting an island to an island that you otherwise would have had to fill in over 100 years or so of landfill. The other is using something like on your island just for either elevation or convenience or what. And the one thing that you saw me start to try to do this a little bit, but okay, so trusses are 2, cables are 4. I kind of wonder about like, okay, so for example, I don't think we'll have the time to do all of this today, but you could take all of the train stuff here, the elevated, like the stations and everything, and elevate it up to this level, run a bridge over to an elevated like square of land, and then just have the train stations up, and then via lifts unload these down a level or 3. And I kind of like that idea, like keeping trains up without having to spend so much time going up and down these hills. I like that idea a lot, and I'm kind of curious how intuitive and easy that is. I do wonder if any of this is going to be difficult for us to make happen. But for example, yeah, so that does collide with a retaining wall. I could probably get away with deleting that section of retaining wall. I really don't want to collapse this whole area. It was a little bit bold to build our entire rail line right along the edge of this cliff, but can't change it now, huh? What if we did, well, we can test the concept over here, right? What if we were like this? Sinfaust, you need to play this game. You've been watching and you don't play. You should play. It's very fun. It is also fun to watch, I gotta say. But yeah, you should play this game, man. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. All right, hang on a tick. I think I just saw another train break. Yep. I think our hydrogen issue is cascading. That's fine. We'll come back to it. So, but like, imagine that this is the rail, right? And then it comes out here and we have like a fill up to this area, and then we have the station be elevated and the turnaround be elevated and or train bridge as well. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I like the idea of trains being up. It's like a thing that happened in early, at least US cities, the industrial side of trains came in. You got all these like viaducts. I don't know if you've ever been in the on the like, oh shoot, I'm blanking. What's the really like famous one? They turned into a rail park in Manhattan, and there's one in Philly here too. And I don't know, it's just like a cool vibe. Elevated industrial train through the middle of city. I like that vibe, and if I can use bridges to make that happen, oh, I'm so excited to do that in the next playthrough. Need to play. Haven't you keep getting to conveyors and bottling it. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. There are quite a few step changes, and that's definitely one. But there's some activation energy to get over it. Betty, how are you, man? How you been? Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you. Got the trains in update 3, then seen that update 4 was going to expand and decided to wait. Yep. 100%. Yeah, that's like the eternal struggle, right? When there's an update to a game that you play a lot is announced, you're like very excited, and then also, well, shoot, should I just wait to play? Because now all I can see are the frustrations that I have with the current set of the game that they're going to fix, right? I cannot tell you how annoying it was in this playthrough to deal with this sand mine, knowing that we'd have amphibious vehicles in like a month or 3. So yes, I get that. I get that. That happens to me all the time. So this is going to be a steel issue. Let's just, I mean, we have enough unity here. Yeah, let's just boost the entire steel factory. I will say we were, we skewed iron in this playthrough, right? Everything that you could do iron or steel, we went iron for a bunch of reasons. Part of it was I was just so tired of scaling steel from our previous playthrough. But the neat thing, I think, about having built this at least in Blast Furnace 2 is that we can just instantly double everything up real quick, which is good. All right. Well, the good news about finding out we need to have left a ramp is that while it is going, we are actually getting to hydrogen amphibious vehicles. So we can just swap those over in a moment here with the old upgrade system. And then, yeah, we definitely got to get trains 2 in here. Maybe we can play around with the upgrade train function as well once we have that to sort of see how that works. Some of our mine train routes have just like a ton of trains on them. Like we have 5 of these guys. That'd be good to update that, I think. I'm wondering, I haven't seen any references to the DLC. Did I not like tick a box or something? I'm wondering if I'll need to like reload that and pull it in. I guess it wouldn't be in here. At any rate, if that ends up being the case, we'll come in and check on that later too. But there's plenty to take a peek at here without that. And I want to focus on that anyway, because I guess not everyone's going to have the DLC, so. I forgot I made some mega excavators. I love when this happens, like you make a bunch of the same vehicles, but they all come out and they occupy the exact same space, and I forget that I actually have like a whole mining crew sitting here. Look at this. Whoops. What can we have them do? We can have them help us generate some fill, I suppose. Do we have... Let me think. Where are we generating rock right now? We kind of aren't. Maybe we'll put one over here. Let's do that real quick. Give me a mine control tower here. And just flatten this out for me, will you? We have 2 mega excavators, 2 normals. Give me, I don't know, 4 of those guys, 4 of these. All right, so I kind of want to use this found on map. Like, this is a great way to be like, how many blast furnaces do I have on the map? Oh, good. We got 24 of them. And look at that. I can see them all highlighted and then move around between them. That's pretty cool. I like that. Can you do this with, is it just buildings, or like if I want to see some sulfur? Yeah, so this is, here's where all the sulfur is on the map. You ever like misplace something? I don't know if that happens to anyone else. Maybe that's just me. But you can now look at everything that has sulfur in it on the map. It's like, where are all my sulfur storages? Well, here they are. They're all around here. And if I want to make a change to all of them, great. There we go. So Control plus Shift plus F. So Control F just brings up this box down here. Control Shift F, I guess, must be the find everything. Yeah, perfect. You can jump right into it. That's cool. I really like that. There's like a sneaky number of pretty good like UI updates here that I'm pretty pleased with. I'm pretty pleased with them. Let's see. Amphibious. Oh, interesting. Okay, so there's a difference between amphibious trucks and amphibious excavators. Huh. Very interesting. So we actually probably want, well, we need 2 amphibious trucks, certainly, but I think we should probably also then queue up some amphibious excavators, right? I think we should. There we go. Yeah. Thinking, had a question about corn farms. Do you just farm corn in all 4 slots 100% of the time? Okay, so what we do is we just alternate. So we go corn and then just green manure, right? So water, and then that's a quick, fertility reset, but we only allowed ourselves to grow corn as a crop in this playthrough. I think there's exactly one exception to that, which is out here. No, here, yes. 50% of the time, instead of swapping manure, we put saplings in. It's not a crop, but we kind of have to do it for wood. No alternative to that, so. Goody, you can also do storage sulfur to only see storages with sulfur. Oh, interesting. So if I go storage sulfur, do I need that colon? So the colon is important. It's a search subset. Cool. Oh, that's awesome. Great pro tip. Thank you, thank you. St. Faust, if you go to the load game menu, there should be a thing on the save to turn on the DLC. That would be good. Is that what this is? It is. It's this bright green button that I noticed and then didn't do anything about. That makes sense. There we go. Oh, well, there we go. Oh no, did I just load the from the beginning? That's fine. There's an autosave, if not. But yeah. That's a good tip too. Thank you, thank you. Thinking, gotcha. Enjoyed your corn only playthrough video. Thank you, thank you. I really I had fun with that one. People enjoyed that very odd thought. I'm very glad that it ended up being interesting to people. Sinfaust, yes, so that's what I just did, right? I just yeah, great. And just come back to that save. Wonderful. Well, apologies for the distraction, but we'll just pull up the most recent autosave. I have it do it pretty frequently, so shouldn't be too much, hopefully. This is already faster than the first time, so there's definitely a lot of save compatibility one-time stuff up front, I have to say. That's the impression I get. It's also getting a little bit later in the game, so these take a little bit longer than they used to, for sure. Yeah, the corn playthrough was just this weird idea that was in my head for like a month or two, and I just couldn't get it out. I was like, I wonder if this is possible. I kind of think it is, and I want to see. But yeah, I did it more than just to exercise the demon. I thought it could be interesting as well, and was just very pleasantly surprised. I don't know, to see that it it worked for folks. Some combination of entertaining and interesting, right? That's the vibe we're always hoping for. But glad it landed. All right. Okay, good. So it's not that far. It's not that far. This is an autosave. Good. All right, good. I was concerned. That is better than it was, although definitely, yeah, we have lost a bit of progress. No worries. Cool. Heyo. Hey, Grape Train. How are you? Few. Yes, few indeed. Few indeed. Good and worse. I mean, I think more than anything else, I'm just glad we don't have to sit through another loading screen. So, all right. And this is how we got there, because I started typing mine control tower and got distracted by the search response while we were setting up this essentially rock mine over here. So let's just do that real quick. Give ourselves, we said 2, 2, 4, 4, and let that go. Because we're going to dump the rock over here if we had any, right? We do allow the dumping of rock. Presumably we must, yes. Good. Okay. Very good. I've gotten so numb to the we can't store all the corn. I wonder, like, if we actually could store all the corn, I wonder how much we'd have piled up. 25K felt like above this, why even bother anymore? So, all right, so we're making progress on this bad boy. I guess they must drive out here to deliver it, or only amphibious trucks can reach that far? Not sure. But I think... Here, wait, we need to find... Oh, wait, can we just do amphibious truck? No. What if we did truck? And we can find them. There we go. All right, so he must be doing something. Does his overlay indicate that we have... Not quite yet. Not quite yet, but soon. Okay, cool. That's good to see. It's interesting it was truck, but not amphibious truck. Okay, it is there. Did I just misspell it? I probably just misspelled it or something. Neat. All right. Well, good. That's coming along. This will too soon, I'm sure. You have nowhere to put this. Oh, it needs sorted. We should probably get a 4 sorter. I don't want them to have to run all the way out there to an existing one, so let's just give them one here. I suppose we could say dumping dirt isn't that big a deal at this point in the playthrough, but I just have such, you know, it's not quite PTSD. I'm kind of a pack rat now as a result about dirt, so I kind of have to. No big deal. All right. The mind control towers tell you to like and subscribe. Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's so easy to, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure my enunciation isn't incredible in the first place, but I absolutely slur those words together by accident. Mine or mind. This is a new icon too, mining designation. I don't really know. I mean, it's the exact same thing, right? Oh, and that's interesting. So if you press, I just usually press M for mine, Z for dump, N for flatten, but it does bring up these, what do you want to call these? Access indicators, I guess, which is nice because sometimes you go to dump and you're like, how close can I get to the cargo dock? And you're not sure, yada, yada, yada. So that's good. All right, there's the amphibious vehicles. Let's go ahead and replace. And then, oh yeah, that's right. We did want to also queue up a pair of amphibious excavators of the hydrogen persuasion. Very good. Seen a couple streamers call mind controller, and yeah, I think I have as well. All right, so we've got amphibious vehicles, including hydrogen. We've got bridges. We've got one going here. What I'm curious is, I think at a certain depth, right, like we just haven't gotten any delivery, despite the fact that I think this should be navigable now for a normal truck. Hold still. Thank you. Okay, so it's not yet. I guess it has to be completed first, because we set these to roads, so they should be able to navigate there eventually. But yeah, so then we definitely need amphibious in order to complete the bridge. Good to know. We got amphibious vehicles, so when do we get land boats? Man, that would be sweet. This thing just had wheels, it's rolled up. I guess technically, right, you can dig canals and stuff, which is kind of neat, right? You can run this to be like an inland port, so to speak, which sounds like a lot of work, but also would look cool as hell. It'd be kind of neat to do like a kind of a Venice concept, right? It'd be kind of fun for like a very trade heavy playthrough, using a bunch of contracts and just have these things embedded deep inside the island, sort of floating in and dropping stuff off at different harbor locations. I like that. That could be kind of a fun vibe for a build. Boats need to have legs like in Supreme Commander. Yes. That'd be sweet. The one thing I'd also love to see, and like, I don't know, this is just like, we're just asking at this point, I'd love to get like, I don't know, blimps, zeppelins, something air, you know? It's the one thing where you're kind of missing some activities in the air. If it's not a rocket launching straight up, I mean, planes feel like the map's just not, I don't know, is the map big enough for planes? I guess it could be. Very short distances. I mean, you'd never fly ore, right? That's very silly. But if you, I don't know, if you built your electronics over here or something, you could conceivably, arguably, make an argument that there's a cargo flight requirement out here, or distance is like reasonable. But I think blimps would be sweet. That'd be a dope build with bridges running over the canals too. Yeah, 100%, right? I like that a lot. I like that a lot. One thing would be cool to use boats to transport goods between islands Anno style. Totally. Totally. I don't think that you can do that based on the updates that they've made, but you could interpret some of the updates they've made to ship pathfinding as a step in that direction. You know what I mean? Right now, you still, like, where they're constrained is they've set up this system where it's like, well, you have slots, and these slots are all assigned to a contract or a world mine. So there's not the flexibility to say, you know, keep full like you would with a storage, keep full of this and then unload there or whatever. But there's a model for it. It's the train model. And they would have to sort of rewire it. But the first thing you'd have to do no matter what, which I think they wanted to do anyway, is figuring out ship pathfinding, right? So I would never say never, Sinfaust, on the transporting goods in a more ad hoc way between islands. Obviously, it's not happening yet, but update 5, raised eyebrow, question mark? Who knows? Let's see. All right, so we are a good chunk of the way through the big train updates, although we're only going to be able to, at this point, build big steam train. That said, I might do that because we do have one out here. Where is he? There he is. Our wood train is a coal train. And we do send that in pretty high volumes. It's all the wood our entire island uses, so something to it. By the way, did we ever recover? That's good. So we're doing all right over here. Very good, very good. Where are we? We're still spending a ton on steel, but it seems like we're using it. Hopefully. I guess if nothing else, we took that big loan, right? Yeah. If you could, that would be an awesome challenge run idea. No bridges, no dumping. Right, yeah, exactly. I guess you have to be able to transport, yeah, like you could send, you'd have to build the initial dock, the receiving dock. So I guess you'd have amphibious vehicles do that. But then, yeah, you could drop off your construction materials or whatever. I guess you'd have to, or you could be able to transport in a vehicle ferry, right? Trucks, or I guess you just transport the stuff over your amphibious vehicles, build a new vehicle depot. You build vehicles on the other island. There's a way to do it. It's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, this just unlocks so many different like ways to play as a result. I think it's really cool. Okay, so we're gonna start out here, but hey, look at this. We have our first amphibious truck. How sweet is that? He's really cruising. Well, we got him on speed 3, but there we go. What is your speed like normally? Are you? That's pretty quick. I mean, he clips along. Not bad. I guess you'd have to. The open ocean is a vast distance. I do wonder why they're prioritizing that particular segment. So I see that they have not exactly optimized the build logic for long continuous builds. So this is the exact same complaint I have about how it builds rails, how it builds large segments of pavement. It's all still the same logic, huh? C'est la vie. I will take it. It is, I think, still an acceptable trade-off. Let's let our Unity catch up here a little bit. Look at him go. Yeah, man. He was really zipping along. Is he faster in the water? Or is he about the same speed? I think he's about the same speed. Does he have speed stats? Not that I can see, but that's cool. Oh, this is our diesel guy. He's got to get upgraded. Cargo capacity, height clearance, width, I guess, pollution, fuel. That's cool. Yeah, it just feels like they're surfacing more information, which I really like. That was, again, like I said earlier, that was my complaint with the train system. Is like, this is clearly cool and complicated, and it's a great thing to sort of not require you to engage with something so complicated, but you do still want to be able to surface stuff. And nested tooltips are the right way to do that. That is what a nested tooltip is for. That's why I think they were sort of pioneered in the grand strategy area, because good lord, there's a lot of information in those games, and they they long ago faced the pressure of how on earth do we provide the right information at the right time to inform decision making without overwhelming. That's what a nested tooltip is for. Cool to see that. Very cool to see that. Loan payment overdue. Not so cool to see that. I can do that manually. Our trucks seem busy. They always are. I should probably just build some more trucks, but speaking of busy, we have to make an amphibious excavator. Brilliant. All right, so how should we do this? So this sand over here, I would love to mine, but I don't really know how this is going to work. So I guess we need another mine control tower, right? And ideally we'd have another ramp out this way, I suppose. But I would really like, trains too, I see it. Would really like to, for example, mine out here. Do you think this is going to give us, like if I just go down, you dredge? This can't be the way to do it. I mean, I guess. Interesting. All right, so that's not super visually intuitive, if I'm being honest, but let's give him a buddy. Oh, see, and here it's saying it doesn't have any mining designations. So how does this work with an amphibious excavator? There's not like an amphibious mining tower, is there? Oh, these are new icons as well. Yeah, it does feel like they made UI and UX a focus. I have to say, like, it just feels like visually like these are brighter colors, larger icons, more intuitive illustrations of what these things do. I think that was, I mean, I suppose you don't make it a headlining feature, right? It just doesn't capture the imagination, but it's super important. It's super important, and it's good to see them doing this. I think it also means they probably think they're closer to 1.0, so they need to start polishing. And I agree with that, frankly, but cool to see. All right, so I still haven't figured this out. It's telling me it has no mining designations. Do we have anything new in here about amphibious mining? We know all of these things. You don't have anything in your own tooltip, do you? Maximum mining depth in water, 5 tiles. I see. It can only go to 5 underneath, I guess is the point. 5 underwater. So, all right. So if I'm a mining designation, this is plus, well, I guess it can only go to -5 because that's what the minus is oriented around, right? Is the sea level. So if I do this, I don't know if that even activates anything, frankly, but it does tell us, yep, that this is no longer inactive or invalid, and he is able to go get it. All right, so it's only shallow. It's only shallow stuff. Which is interesting because that sand deposit goes a heck of a lot lower than 5 underwater. It makes sense. You should, like, this is not a deep water, this is a floating excavator, right? Okay, so this is not meant to interact with the seabed floor. It is meant to dredge. And okay, yeah, I can live with that. I can work with that. If nothing else, you know what? I actually don't even care about this sand anymore, really, so much as I would like to see him clear out this, for example, right? So like this bit of nonsense is now something we can clean up. Couldn't before, can now. How do I, there we go, even out, thank you. So if we had trouble, you know, getting our cargo ship in there, we can work with that now. So I think what I'll do is just have him be our coastal cleanup crew. I'm curious if he shows up with anything there, but it's probably going to be mostly that. And I am also aware that we are now sending all of them out and around. So I'll probably need to fill in a bit of a ramp in this area as well, which is counterintuitive to what we're actually trying to do over here. But we're going to need these, right? Around the base in general, you're going to need water access ramps in order to use amphibious vehicles, period. So you're kind of going to need this stuff. I guess they only need to go down to the level of the sea itself, 0. Maybe one more, just to be safe. Let's play around and see. But that is going to mess up my paving. Unbelievable. Oh, especially if I shoot. Left my overhang there. Well, we'll have to clean that up as well. That's okay. But yeah, so here he is. He's able to go that low, I guess, and no more. Cool. All right. Well, I understand the limitations of the tool. I even understand the rationale for the limitations of the tool. And I can work with that. That will help you dig channels for your Venice-style playthrough. So, good stuff. I'm into that. Nice. All right, what else is breaking? I have 8 alerts over here, many of which are red. All of my trains. Why is it that everyone's running out of hydrogen? Is our stop over here has plenty? Unclear. It's going to make coastline sand gathering so much nicer to do. I agree. I completely agree. You know, at first I was like, oh, I'm disappointed it won't get all the sand. Because, if I'm being honest, there's a part of me who's only really annoyed by this because it's visually annoying every time I bring up the resource layer. Like, it's just ugly as hell. In this area that I have, you know, from another perspective, I've completed this area, right? Everything is paved and pretty, and my compulsions to, you know, pave paradise have been fulfilled, and I've built factories over top of it. And yet, nature persists, and it disrupts my visual cleanliness, and I want to get rid of all of that. And if I can only go down 5, I can't. Each of these is a layer, right? This sand starts, what, like at minus 12 or so, and it goes to minus 30? You'll never get to that without digging down, old school style. So an excavator's not going to do that. That's okay. It doesn't need to do that. That's a weird thing for me to want it to do, frankly. That's on me, not on the tool. But it will absolutely make coastal sand so much better. You don't have to worry about flooding mines as much, and it's going to make for those channels. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad to try it out. A micro emotional roller coaster there that I am more than over, but a very cool tool. I like it. And, you know, if nothing else, the ability to transport stuff across water is a big deal. Wait, you paved paradise but haven't yet put up a parking lot. That is a damn good point. Here, hang on a sec. Let's fix that. This feels like a parking lot, right? Let's ignore the flu epidemic that's going on and just get ourselves a real quick... They've got letters in here somewhere, right? Here we go. There's your P for parking. And give ourselves, I don't know, some spaces. That feels like a right amount. And we'll just copy that a few times. This right here. This is the new update 4 content that you are here for. Bam. Parking lot. I could copy paste the whole thing a few more times. We've lost like 20 people since I stopped paying attention. I digress. One wrong scoop and you're screwed. Yeah, that was the that was what I was dealing with this mine over here. I was a little bit close to where I was where that was a real threat, unfortunately. Oh man, come on. You're supposed to do that from the water. Why would you? That's not neat. You're supposed to be cool. Show off the new content. Get in the water. God. Let's backfill our people. Whoops. Don't forget the handy. Oh my God, you're right. That is not ADA compliant. Hang on a tick. Do they have? Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to submit a like an ADA complaint here if they don't have the right markings. Right? I mean, they don't. I don't see a handicap marker in here. Do you guys? I guess maybe we just go with just go H. Is that the move? Gotta save it. Are those usually in blue? Those are usually in blue, aren't they? We're gonna go blue. All right, that's enough. Yeah, we have paved paradise, and the parking lot is up. Counting crows are indeed proud. Somewhere, for reasons they don't understand, they are all of them individually smiling. Good song. Good song. Yeah. So this does not bother me. This was about landfill, and we've actually already completed that ramp, so that's fine. I don't care. All right, so we have big trains. That was the thing that popped up while I was not paying attention. I think we're also just going to queue up, I don't know, 5 of those real quick, and then get in here. Yeah, unplayable. I'm just saying, like, that's you know, they're opening themselves up to liability for not having the right stuff to make our parking lots handicap friendly. Oh my God, captain's locomotive. Did you guys see that? Hang on a sec. What is the captain's locomotive? Are you kidding me? Well, this is cute as hell. What does this do? Can I like pull stuff with that? Oh my God, it's fast. It's like actually fast. Hang on. What? Like, all right, we have to do, okay, here, great use case. Here's the compare tool. A diesel locomotive's base speed is 80 without anything behind it. The captain's locomotive, this tiny cute little thing, is 100. Like, it's faster. I even think that's faster than the base hydrogen, right? Yeah, it's fast. It's faster, it's better uphill. It has less power, I guess. Well, then how is it better uphill? Interesting. And it takes less hydrogen. Oh, and it's short. Look at this. Okay, this is adorable, and I want it. I don't really know what we're doing with it, but we're gonna build it, I guess. Fix train design issues. It said it must be behind something. What is, oh, let's hold Alt. What does this mean? Must be behind. I think the tender must be behind, yeah, okay, so it can't be behind anything, or it must be behind something? Interesting. Well, let's just build it. And it costs gold. That's very funny. Yeah, I like that. Oh, and we sent this guy in here for something. I guess to refuel. How do we should get him out there, don't we? Well, I'm over it. We'll scrap him. It seems to be going fine without him, right? The copper is full. It is. We're good. All right, so what the heck? Can he pull, though? That's the thing. Like, I think he can. Right? Like, we could have this thing run an actual train line and honestly do it decently well, right? I'm like, those were the stats looked like. That's kind of cool. Can you build more than one of them? No. I guess you could put it at the front of multiple. Yeah, you can. So it can be like your lead train. Well, of course, you can't have the captain be anywhere other than out front. So fair enough. All right. Fascinating. Why don't you just run around the corn import line for now? That's so cute. It is gold, naturally. Oh, he's zippy. I mean, I know he doesn't have any cars behind him, but he's really going. Yeah, he definitely has a 100 km/h speed. My God. This is so funny. I don't know. Are you guys as entertained by this as I am? I am as entertained as I sound. This is like a roller coaster ride, not a train. God, all right, that's super funny. We were gonna make an actual upgrade to like a train that we have probably. So let's try that. Get back on the tracks. Pun not intended, but not avoided. And can we replace this train? There we go. Okay, so let's do this, right? I guess we start with a steam locomotive 2. Do we need a tender? How much does its fuel? So its consumption goes up, of course, from 3.5 to 6.9. And I guess its fuel tank must be relatively similar. I don't know. I kind of want to see with the big tender. Let's just do it anyway. And then we need these guys. Okay, so these have a, is that a throughput of 480? And these carry, oh wow, these are 4x. So they're twice the footprint, but 4x the throughput. So technically, that is equivalent to our current train. Right? These are 4-to-1, despite a 2-to-1 footprint. That's really excellent throughput. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's too long for the depot. We have to extend the depot. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's extend the depot. Way back in the day, I placed this here and then explicitly said, it'll be great, we'll be able to extend this as long as we need to into the rest of the base, and then did not extend it at all. But, good news, we're finally able to do it. All right, so then, come on back here. Where was this? Alpine Shuttle is what I've called this. Replace this train, single click, there we go. It did not save our design, which is fine. But that's interesting. This is like double the throughput. And they're larger, right? So it's longer, but like barely. So it's kind of cool. All right, well, let's get that going. And we'll check on that when it rolls out in a moment. Can you get amphibious mega vehicles? Time to take a peek. I'm not seeing anything in here, which seems fair. Like that would be kind of a lot. These gas turbine locomotives are interesting. All right, well, we got to get to hydrogen locomotives first because I do want to upgrade our current ore trains. That's like genuinely going to be helpful. I think we could, there are 5 of this exact train on our iron supply lines right now. I mean, we could probably knock it down to 1, maybe 2 big trains. So let's see if we can't get that going. That'll be 2 techs from now. Oh, our steel is overdue. Right. How are we doing here? Everything seems fine, right? Nothing's on fire. This is fine. What are you trying to do? You're trying to... Oh, interesting. Yeah, this is a good point. Okay, so our fuel stations are not able to refuel amphibious excavators like they would normal on land excavators on account of they can't get there. So what you need to do, it's actually a very straightforward fix, is assign an amphibious truck if you're going to have amphibious excavators. Done, right? No problem. But that does occupy one of them. I mean, this one, presumably. Maybe another one. But that's good. So it's good to have those in the fleet. Oh, we are at max cap. Do we have a... Actually, do think we have another tech we could grab here. 13K, that's going to be such a distraction. We're just going to upgrade normal ones, so to speak. So that's done. Let's just say, I don't know, how about 5 more of those? Sort of migrate the fleet over like that. Very good. Amphibious excavator has no fuel. Yes, no, we're on that. Thank you. Appreciate the heads up. I do wish, okay, so when you have a fuel, like a fueling station, all excavators stop ever seeking their own fuel, even if they're capable of it. They just turn off that choice. They won't go to the nearest thing that they used to before you have that station. I wish that were toggleable in some way, because like the fastest way to get him refueled is actually technically to delete all of our fuel stations, right? Technically that would trigger him to immediately go fuel himself. I don't think that seems like something I would want to do, you know what I mean? Anyway, all right, so those are going, and then these are other things that we unlocked in the DLC, right? Fireless steam locomotive. So this guy can run on steam. Like you just load up steam into a train station. And yeah, given how early it is, it must be, yeah, it's just like normal steam. It's not steam like super pressured or anything. This is just like what you're running on power early in the game anyway, which is kind of cool. I don't know. Would you use this? I suppose it depends on how you're generating steam. We're doing it from corn here. I suppose that would be legitimate, but I'm like intrigued by that. There's a few of those, and they're all DLC things, right? This one actually does look cool. That's the gas. That's a fuel gas powered one. There's a few of those. Like I don't know. Why would you ever do that? Like molten transport. This looks neat. That little train car. Like we got to build one. It looks cool. But when would you ever transport molten goods? You know what I mean? Like that's just not. You gain nothing from that. Like molten products are not any more or less. Like you don't compress, if that makes sense. It's not like, oh well, if you compress it down, it's like a 2-to-1 ratio, and then it's less transport. What's the value in breaking up your production chain here? You know what I mean? I've never gotten that urge to like smelt somewhere and then cast somewhere else. So, and I think they kind of framed it that way, honestly, when they introduced them. They were like, you never really need to do this, but if you want to, you can. But I just don't know, why would you ever do that? I guess it looks neat. Like that's kind of all I can say. But that's what it is. These should unlock soon though, and then the other one, and unfortunately we're gonna have to. Well, let's research this here and find out. But we don't have any nuclear setup in this build because it's a corn playthrough. Ah, and that's right. This is where electric trains are. So that's really late, isn't it? This is where electric trains 1 is. It's at the same time as you get power generation 4, behind construction parts 4. I don't hate that. Electric trains is a powerful technology. The thing with electric trains is you never have to refuel them. Now it's more expensive to electrify your rails, but you never actually have to stop and refuel them. That super simplifies your logistics. So yeah, it kind of trivializes that part of your planning. So I'm kind of glad that it's not like super early. Although I could certainly see like this is a helpful thing, certainly in like your, I would say your downtown area, so to speak, where like so this used to be, initially, this was our big refueling station and everybody stopped here. And when they did, it just created so much of a backlog in this area that I just got annoyed and I just added refueling at these stations as well. In sort of dense areas, refueling is it adds to traffic, right? And so I actually think that like electric trains, if anything, are actually like a tool that you should use or think of as like traffic reducers. And they're just neat. Looks cool, right? That's its own value. But I think that's their strategic value. Simplifies and detraffics. So DJJ just tuned in, so sorry if you already covered this. You continue the Corn is King playthrough with update 4, just poking around seeing what's what. The latter, we are definitely going to start a new one. And actually, at some point this afternoon, do want to hop into, we're going to do it on the new map, the Archipelago map. That's a bunch of islands, so that we can use bridges and such, which we are already testing out, but my goodness, they are expensive and it takes a minute. But we're going to start a new one. We're going to do a new one. I can't tell you we won't make corn along the way in that one, but I'm going to try to play like a bit more of a normal person for that playthrough. It's also probably hard to to do a lot of farming on a small islands type map too, now that I think about it. But yeah, so this playthrough is kind of, I mean, I think it's kind of done, right? In my mind, like we could, you always can extend, but we're kind of stuck tech-wise. In order to go into the space age further, you basically can't without making some crops that aren't corn. Med supplies too, antibiotics requires sugar. No way around that, no alts. And food packs can't be done without corn, or can't be done with just corn as well. So it felt like the right spot to stop, and the timing was perfect, honestly. Like they announced that, I don't know, we had about maybe 2 episodes left in this, which was just incredible timing. So it just felt like the right thing to start a new one, try to play new, normal. I think every time there's an update, right, you bring in a whole bunch of people who are like new to the game, and one of the things I strive to do here is be beginner accessible, if nothing else. And I figure we should probably not teach beginners that you should play this game by corn maxing. So anyway, that was my thinking. Very cool. Looking forward to the new playthrough. Quickly become my favorite content creator for Cowboys. That is so kind of you to say. Thank you. That's really awesome to hear. You know, we're small, we're early, but like the response has been just super cool. Like overwhelming. Very, very cool stuff. And I really appreciate everyone tuning in and all the nice stuff that everyone has to say. I'm glad that I'm glad it's entertaining. I'm glad it's interesting. I'm glad it's fun. Yeah, because that's what I think the game is, and it's nice to share that with others as well. So it's been a very fun 8 months here, and I recognize your name from very early on, my friend. You've been around for most of that, if I recall. So thank you. Ah, shoot, we're overcrowded here. I guess I should stop health boosting. Yep. Damn, we actually need a flu again. Oh well, overshot. We can just dismiss the alert. All right. So, gone through all of that. Let's check in on our little content sketch. Yeah, I do want to do the can we bury pipes thing. Where would we do that? Let's just do a quick test. I don't know. How about, well, we're going to run our excavators over here. Let's just do it right here. We already have them here. Why not? So, what do I mean? What am I talking about instead of burying pipes? So, let's start by digging a channel while I kind of riff for a moment and explain what the heck I mean. So, normally, if you want to run pipes across your island as, you know, a long distance infrastructure, you run into the vehicle transport network issue, essentially. And the way that I tend to solve this, when you need to have your roads cross your pipes, I build a ramp. And it's fine. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but it's fine. What some other folks do is they'll dig down a level or 3, bury all their pipes, run them underground, bring them back above ground where they need them, and then fill it in with dirt and pave it over. That's neat. That works. It's obviously functional, and I think it's objectively better aesthetically, but it's really annoying to try to interact with it, right? The utility is not ideal in my humble opinion. And that, like the number of screenshots that I see posted to like the subreddit where people are like, oh no, I broke the pipe that is under all the dirt I covered in. And what do I do? Like, well, yeah, like no surprise. It worked exactly the way that you risked it working. But I understand the urge to do that, right? Because it is annoying to have these big infrastructure things go crashing across your base and cutting through. So what I'm wondering, because the issue is you can't run a ramp over this, right? It's not wide enough. Even the big fella, right? So you kind of can't do the thing that I do on roads with like lowered pipes. What I'm wondering is if we can run a bridge over this channel. And if so, how deep does it or doesn't it need to be, etc. Love the idea of bringing pipes, but realistically can't plan that well. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you've watched me play for long enough, you know that one of the things I value is strategic flexibility, because you can try to predict the future. I just think that's a losing battle in general, right? Like why build your setup in such a way that you have to, that it relies on you predicting the future very well? That's hard even for players who have twice as many hours as I do, right? That's not a, it's a very specific and demanding playstyle, and it's not really how things work in the real world either. So it's kind of neat to be like, well, let's approach this in a way that doesn't depend on your expert game knowledge and forecasting as much as it does on building in a way that you are simply able to adjust as things come along. It just takes the pressure and the burden off. And in case, and I know it's easy to forget this, but like in case you do, this is a game. I don't want burden. You know, I want to have fun. So like I like playing like that. So for example, this electronics factory is built so that I didn't know how much our throughput would require to be. It's built so that I can extend it if we need to. There's space in this area. If we need more copper, we can just copy paste more of these modules over here. Same thing here. We can extend these in twice as much direction. Same thing here. We'd have to, you know, move around some pipes and belts and stuff. But structurally, all the machines are in a place such that it's expandable. I don't know how much glass we're going to need, but if we need to double it, we could just do that right here. So I try to build all of my stuff that way. One exception, this construction parts factory in one form or another has always been sufficient for me. 4 machines in each module, I'll just basically always do and then upgrade as we go along. Other than that, I actually prefer to sort of build with the future, like future-proof, not because we have the perfect amount of capacity, but future-proof because we've left room to build as much as we need. Sort of a push rather than a pull, or I don't know how you'd think about that, but pipes usually end up looking the worst because they have the most flexibility. I get belts first, and then pipes typically end up weaving in and out. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So in any new connect everything, belts first, right? Belts first, closest to the ground. They have the least, flexibility on navigating the ups and the downs parts. And it's not even just that. Like pipes can go up within the same square, right? It's neat to have a lift, but even a lift takes up 2 spaces before you then change elevation. And again, a pipe, you can do that within the same space. So yeah, no, 100%. And then as a result, it looks like spaghetti. What are you gonna do? All right. So anyway, we were gonna talk about burying these pipes potentially. So let's dig our channel, right? Ideal, it's probably 1, but we had mega excavators. You can't get in that low. So let's do it like this. And can we do just a small flat bridge? Honestly, don't know. So yes, but can we run pipes under that? It doesn't quite look like it. Let's build this as a test. I think the answer is the channel's going to need to be lower. I'm curious how low, because I do think this can still work. But if you have to go like 8 deep, it's not really any less work than the thing that I just said I'm too lazy to do. So yeah, okay. But I do want to know exactly how low we're talking. So let's, I don't know, save our, well, we can keep the experiment here. It's not like we're running low on space. Let's dig lower instead. Maybe let's just go as low as we can, actually. And let's see. Oh, you know what we should do before we do any of that, though? I think, well, never mind. It doesn't matter. I would like to get some, right, duh. We need to get some retaining walls in here if we want to keep that depth without it sort of caving down and in, but just for the experiment, doesn't matter. We just want to know the depth. Unfortunately, though, we're going to have to reset all these guys because obviously I trapped them. That's fine. They'll be back. It's not far. Very good. All right, so research is cruising along. I feel like it's taken forever. Is that because I'm impatient or is something broken? Let's check our stats. They're pretty good. This all looks fine. This was not working for some reason, but that was some time ago now. Output is full. Interesting. I wonder if that was like recycling being full over here or something. But it would have said output is full on this too. I don't know. Maybe we just weren't researching a tech at that moment. That would make sense. Oh no, we're low on corn. How's that happening? Are we... Oh my god. Because we've been blocking the damn thing up with our cute little go-kart train. Let me... because he's not full. Okay, so this is just a bad line to put him on. Let's put him on his own new little line that does, like, nothing. Let's give him... I don't know. How about... You know what? Even this stop is fine. It's just like, you gotta stop and get out, man. Let's run him through our corn lines like that, but say, go quickly, my friend. And then actually, I suppose we need to give him a refueling spot as well. Okay. Oh, and of course, we need to actually name this Go Kart. Oh my god, caps lock and misspell. Go Kart. Can we change the color? I hope he just stays gold. Oh, this is new too. Cool. Oh my god, I'm going to spend so much time customizing the colors on this. I'll have to cut that out of all of the videos I do, I am sure, because I'm going to fall down that rabbit hole. All right, have you thought out trying these experiments in the new sandbox mode? Maybe it's quicker if it's just for science. Yeah, you're probably right. You're absolutely right. One of the things I'm actually really excited about for sandbox mode, so I like, okay, so people ask me like, hey, do you put your blueprints everywhere? And my answer to that is I don't actually, like, I don't make blueprints. I can, I'm happy to blueprint the builds I happen to make as well. But I just sort of build as I go, and I do copy paste the same modules. It's sort of blueprint light, whatever you want to think about. But, oh, and this bridge needs deleted because now it's in the way, sorry. Where the hell was I going with that? The other reason I do that is I don't really save them is like, once I've built them, I've built them. But I could go into sandbox mode, build what I think is a generic, you know, what I think is like a generic starter steel plant, and then go from sandbox mode into our actual save, and then at least plop that down as a starting point. So I'm thinking about trying to integrate that into my like filming workflow and then sharing the blueprint afterwards. You know, enough people ask that I'm happy to do it. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about for sandbox mode. You're absolutely right. We should just be doing our science in there. I'm also just having fun in the corn map too. If and when we get to the point where we need to do that, we certainly will. I'm thinking about that for like the nuclear trains when we get to that, because like, yeah, we're not going to spin up all of nuclear here. Yeah, but all right. So at this depth, failed to find bridge. Okay. From further back, it kind of goes up and over. All right, so I'm kind of getting like, I'm getting the vibe that bridges are, they're just sort of too large pieces of infrastructure to use in this way, if that makes sense. Because if it's just a small channel, right, the channel itself is taken up by the supports. So it doesn't feel like that's quite going to be the pipe replacement, buried pipe replacement that I was hoping for. But we still learned something. So worth doing. Bummer it didn't shake out the way that we had hoped, but good to know. Cool. How is our other bridge doing? Oh, great, of course. We're continuing to build it piecemeal, segment by segment, in the continuously annoying way that this game builds these things. So be it. How is it a materials thing? We seem to have what we need here. We certainly have it here. We might just be like limited by the number of amphibious trucks we have, which I think is correct. Although he's been idle a good amount. This is also really helpful to see on like vehicles, right? Especially key vehicles. Refueling time. So for example, if you see like a high proportion of refueling time on a bunch of trucks in a certain area doing a certain task, oh, maybe that's a good area to put a new fuel tank or something. It's like there's just so much that you're going to be able to understand that was already happening, right? All of this was already happening. The train and truck and building logic, like it was all already happening. We just actually get the visibility under the hood now, and we can learn from that. I'm so excited for that. I'm, yeah, very pleased they're finally surfacing that. Did we finish our replaced 0 out of 5? No, there's 5 more, I guess. Let's do, I don't know, let's do another 10. Perfect. There's our flu. Now we're not over population, but I should probably fix that. It's the problem with being so close to the edge on pops, which I constantly am, and that's a choice, but well, at least in this playthrough it wasn't early, but it is now. That's for sure. But I like small, lean builds, I guess. I am who I am. I can't fight that. Oh, and I did it again. Doesn't matter. I'm done. Do they have similar statistics windows for specific machines? Yeah. So if you go in here to like the blast furnace, you can see this one is working overtime because we've been consuming the steel. So green, right, is working. All good. Blue is, well, it's not working, but it's a good problem to have. It means that you're full on your output storage. Usually a good problem to have. It's not like a warning sign color. The other statuses that you can have, and I just need to find a more broken type of building, but there we go. Here, orange. Missing input products, right? Is an orange light, and I imagine red is like doesn't have power or something. Haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so here, actually, it's funny. An exhaust scrubber with orange is fine. And it just means we aren't producing all that much exhaust. I mean, assuming that that's the missing input. This is the one thing I said earlier, too. I love this. I would like to know which input product it is, right? Because if I hover over this and it says, oh, you're missing exhaust, that's great. I wasn't actually missing exhaust. You know what I mean? Like, not a problem. I did not miss it. If we were missing water, that would be a problem, right? If we were missing limestone, that would be a problem. It means that we had the exhaust we needed to process, but we didn't have the other things we need. And in the same case, like on the other side, blue, full output is great in the sense of, oh, great, no problem. My steel factory is working. It's full because I have all the steel I need. You know where that isn't true? It's a bad thing if our sulfur or our carbon dioxide or our slag is all backed up and full. So full output in general, right, is not nearly as bad as missing input. But in different cases, it does matter what is the missing input or what is the full output. So it's already like awesome and I'm already asking for more, right, is what it is. But I think that would be my feedback on leveling it up even further. But man, this is so good. I'm so pleased that this is the case. So for example, right, great thing that we could do here. We could come and say, you know what? I have this hypothesis that we have wildly overbuilt our glass factory. And that as neat as it was to have all the glass to make all these damn greenhouse 2s, I think it's probably a little bit more than we need right now. But how do I know? Well, now I can go in and see. All right, well, this one's going about 48% of the time. This is going half the time. This one's going half the time. Less than half the time. 10% of the time. we could probably pause half of this entire factory, right? And guess how many workers that's going to get us back? Decent chunk, right? So it's really helpful when you're like, I need to like pinch back in a few ways. Or like, we've got a lot of copper out here. Do we really need all this copper? Well, let's see. 44% of the time, 39, 43, 43. And it's all because everything's full. That's probably still true at this level, worth checking, but it is, right? 75, 77, so these are a little bit higher, but these are a little bit lower. On average, it's about 50%. We could probably pause half of this entire setup. Great. Look how many workers we just freed up out of nowhere, right? By pausing machines that were functionally already paused. That's what statistics allow you to do with confidence, right? And in fact, that probably means, yep, we can pause this part too. So it just gives you so much more like actionable information that gives you a benefit. It gives you the opportunity to take a benefit that you already kind of had deserved or earned, right? You had overbuilt this. You could save yourself some of the costs of maintaining it. Wonderful. But now we know. And oh my God, why every time one of these things needs manually refueled to take a drink, I don't know. I mean, this is working, right? These are set to tell me if they're empty. No, they're not, but they should be. But they're full. They're constantly full. I must just not have them spaced out enough. Doesn't matter. Not the point of today. All right, so we've got hydrogen locomotive 2 is our current active research. So we should be able to upgrade our mining trains in just a moment, which is good news. So what else do we want to do? So this we've answered. No, sad. Great. And then we want to take a peek at all of these different trains. Some of those we are probably just going to hop over into Sandbox for. I like being able to integrate things into a new or into an existing base, but yeah, we're not going to spin up all of nuclear today just to test something out. So at a minimum, we'll do it for that. We'll probably do it for a few other things as well. Very cool. Is there anything else that you guys are curious about that you would like to see that we haven't touched on yet? Or even if we have, you want to see a little bit closer? Just shout it out. Happy to poke around. Ooh, you know what I realized actually that I do want to check out is new stackers. And they're actually pretty cheap. I think I might sneak this in real quick before we go hydrogen locomotives. Oh, I thought I pressed. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so the stacker tower, I'm very pumped about. It's not going to do us much good in this playthrough. We've kind of already done all of our, terraforming dumping. But it's going to make this work great in the future. These coastlines did not start out like this, And I remember it was very funny. It was all of like, I don't know, 3 days before they actually announced the new stackers. Where was it? Was it here? Yeah, look at this bump. Look at this dumb little bump. That's a stacker bump. I thought to myself, you know what? I should give stackers a chance one more time. And they were just annoying. You have to delete them and move them, and they just fill up so quickly. It's just like, it requires so much babysitting, and the whole point of them is to not have to babysit anymore. I used them briefly over here as well, and it's just a reminder to myself of how annoying they were in their previous state and what a disappointment I considered them to be. And it's like they were listening. They obviously had been thinking about this for a very long time. They acknowledged it a long time ago. They just haven't chosen to prioritize it because who cares, right? But they've got it. They've got it sorted out. And I gotta say, I'm very excited to try this out. So it looks like, and all I saw was the same, GIF in the dev diary that y'all probably saw, but it looks like they do require like, is it rail parts even? I guess so, right? It's like, it's after the train or concurrent to the train tech. So I think, if you extend them, like they can, if you aren't aware, you can put a dump here and then you can have them automatically, you know, extend themselves out once the area that you've asked them to fill in is like everything within reach is sorted. I'm very excited for that. That will make this actually genuinely, I think, a compelling building to make. So let's see. Let's test it out. And this is again the DLC steam powered locomotive. Come back to that, I'm sure. I think we'll do some like train comparisons in the sandbox mode when we do swap over to that, because I don't really care to unlock all of them and all of that quite yet, but I'm curious. The other thing that's neat with these stackers, so in the update 3 playthrough that we did, I initially tried to do like a centralized dumping operation. So from all of the mines, we brought in all the excess rock into a central sorting facility that then sent it out to the various locations that we were trying to add land. And it just didn't end up being particularly efficient, honestly. I'm wondering if this changes the calculus a little bit. Like, is a centralized dumping idea actually back on the table because you can automate it and process it and do it in a longer term way? I think you kind of have to commit to this being like, oh yeah, I'm going to fill in all of this indefinitely, but I'm kind of curious. So I do want to test it out. Curious to see if it go up and down a slope. Yeah, 100%, right? So let's find out. So just as a reminder, old school stacker, right? You connect its input and it just dumps directly below it. You cannot tell it where or when. You can tell it when to stop, which basically just means stop functioning if it's hit a certain height underneath the dropper. But it just makes this big dumb cone. Not fun, not what you need. Stacker tower, this guy operates in an entire area. And this extension, which I am curious about, I do not know how this works, but it looks like we would place here once we've filled this area in. But that lighter radius, I think, is the area that the stacker itself can operate. So yeah, let's build him. Oh, look at this. Wow, hang on. There's a lot here before we complete this. So there's a vertical offset. Okay. There's a radius. Interesting. So, but what if I just want to like, can I just dump? Can I just say, hey, can you do this, please? All right, well, there's only one way to find out. Let's just build it. And then the slope preview, which I guess is how it's doing that, is based on, so dirt has a very slidey one, rock less so. Yep, so that tightens it up. Extend to, okay, so we can automatically request segments. I don't know, how about 10? Oh, wow. 10 seems like a lot. Okay. Let's at least say 2 so that we can see it happen. Left radius. What does do? Okay, so that cuts out the just how far left. I see. So as far left as you can, and if we wanted to keep this same, we would say no right. Okay. Okay. So let's say like 2, just 3. 3 keeps us even. It does, I think. No, not quite. Actually, I want it on 2, but I cannot. That's fine. I'm not going to rebuild it over that. So I guess the way that we would do this, let us know when it's full. Yeah, please do. Is we should just bring a big keep full storage of rock, right? That feels like the good test case. Come on over and fill her up. This is spare no expense. No, you stop it. That is not your job. All right, so I guess that's the whole point, and why we don't do it like that is otherwise other trucks will come in and dump as well. So I think he handles that. But we do have to set it up through this menu. That's how I'm thinking about this. That's how I'm interpreting this. Yell if I am doing something obviously wrong. To answer your question then, it doesn't seem like it can do anything slopey, which is interesting. I guess you use a traditional dumping zone for that. You can still sort of create the, you know, the floor, so to speak. But yeah, okay. Very interesting. Let's go back to mining some rock here so that we actually have something to dump over there. How about this? And in fact, go ahead, take that whole corner. I don't know why I'm trying to be aesthetic about a save that we are done with, but the muscle is what it is. All right, cool. Well, so hopefully, and in fact, we can directly set that up. I don't want you bringing that there. Yeah, all right, good. Sounds good. So that should, we'll check in on it in a moment. That should work. My goodness. Slope's not a thing, but you can set it to -1. It can still go forward, i.e. if you want to dump dirt over it later. Right, right. So you could make like stairs, descending stairs. Maybe ascending stairs or no? Yeah, actually. You can make stairs. Interesting. Look at that. Look at that. There it goes. Well, it's going to need more volume than that, but that is very good to see, actually. It means it can handle a lot of volume. Cool. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm very happy to see this. And in fact, it can handle probably multiple, right? So if we said slag, for example, we could also put our slag here and run it through here. Oh my God, are these offset? They are by a whole tile. Can't stand it. Gonna have to adjust. But yeah, we make a ton of slag too, so that'll speed this process up. Neat. All right. Well, I'm super excited about this. I'm not so excited about that because I suppose I've told it to dump under itself. So, welp. All right, good to keep in mind. I guess I had put it on the corner because I felt like that would extend its reach, but that's the whole point of the extenders. So hopefully this doesn't collapse itself, but I think we've learned about where to put it placement-wise, if it does. So that's a good start too. Yep, the Archie blows. All right, well, experiment done. I mean, I think that is good to see how that behaves. And I am excited for that. I actually do think it's going to make centralized like rock and slag disposal like kind of reasonable. More reasonable than it was, for sure. So at this point, I'm thinking, lol. Yeah, that's like, how about that for our like, go back and clip that. And that's our screenshot for this upload afterwards. I'm sort of thinking, like, I don't really want to sit here and wait for a million steel just to see this bridge complete. I'm wondering if it makes sense to switch over to a sandbox mode. I mean, we've kind of seen some of the big vehicles. Like, we could do the other ones. Like, yeah, we never really checked in on him. How's he? Neat. That's cool. I mean, yep, it is train car, but big. And yeah. Okay, so the other thing that's neat is these can be two different types, I guess, right? But yeah, so you can have two different types within these, and presumably the other ones as well. He wasn't motivated with that work. Yeah, talk about self-sabotage, right? It's a great way to get out of it. If I wash the dishes terribly, I won't be asked to wash the dishes again. But that's cool too. So you can do multiple, I mean, it has to be the same type of train car, obviously, but you can do multiple within each of these, right? Which is cool. So for example, if you're exporting everything that's coming out of a refinery, well, you just have a bunch of tanker cars and it almost doesn't matter exactly what goes into which because you can split it out. Although now that I stop to think about it, is that true for tanker cars? Or is that only true for the other ones? Might be. So can I adjust the product filter here? Yes. But what if instead this were, can we do that for hopper wagons? Yes, we can. Can we do that for tanker wagons? We can, actually. Okay. I wasn't sure if that would be the case. Cool. All right. So yeah, the use case that I pulled out of the air does hold. If you have a whole bunch of stuff coming out of a refinery, we have no refinery in this playthrough, so I cannot gesture to it. But if we did, you'd be able to try out, send out like, oh, all of your diesel and all of your fuel gas and all of your hydrogen and all of your yada, yada, yada. So that's neat. I like that mix and match within types. Seems helpful. All right. So I think I've tested everything that we want to see in this build specifically. I think what we're going to do is go sandbox mode. So let's go to the main menu and fire that up. So if you're not familiar, oh, perfect, look at this, new game mode. Ah, well, too bad. Sandbox is just like everything is already free. So this is interesting, 11 kilometers square. This must be a map or a custom one. Let's just do this. Yep, keep the DLC. Oh, you're welcome, no problem at all. And fire it off. Let's take a peek. Because I do want to play around with, yeah, some of the more advanced train infrastructure. Like, we have to build fuel rods for the nuclear trains. I am curious what that entails. Is it the same fuel rods as our power plant? Is it a new production we have to set up, etc.? I also do want to just take a look at the Molten trains, even if I never ever build one. I think those little torpedo looking cars are kind of cool. So, look at this. Okay, wow. Quite the sandbox indeed. Look at all that. Big triangles. Cool. Yeah, all right, well, this all makes sense. Low key, I swear to God, I've seen save files that kind of just look like this by the end, uploaded to the Discord subreddit. Oh, and would you look at that? They even made the top layer grass for everyone who loves that. Very good stuff. Okay, so hey, here we are. Everything is researched. Good stuff. So if I were to, for example, want to build a train depot, and let's just say I did it, I don't know, here, and it had like a whole bunch. How would that work? Instant. Love it. Grass perfectionists will be happy. Indeed they will. Indeed they will. And if I were going to build a train, look at that. Torpedo. It's a beautiful sight. It is. It is. As much as I make fun of the grass perfectionists, they are also absolutely correct. It does look gorgeous to have this big open green. Yeah. Okay, so Molten has its own station module. Hang on, there's tier 2? No, it's just electrified. Okay, got it. All right, so if I were a train network, there's supposed to be a mass upgrade as well for electrification. So, I don't know, come on out. And come on out. So if I were to electrify the track, bam. That was a decent amount of electronics. Do you see that? It was like 200 electronics. Makes sense. Yeah. So, okay. So it's expensive, but doable. And it's just electronics 1, which at the point in the game that you unlock these is really not terrible. Okay, that's good. Not gonna lie, you do it too when you can. Yeah, I kind of do when I can. I do as well. It's like if I have to dig up rock in order to lay down grass, ain't happening. But if I'm dumping stuff anyway, I do these days I do tend to leave that last layer for dirt. I started doing that in my own, like, sometimes I play by myself off camera in a different game. I know, wild, but I actually spent most of yesterday playing a personal file out of excitement for today. And in that one, same thing. I have started to do the -1 dump and then save dirt for the top. What can you do? So they got waypoints now. That's new, isn't it? So you can say you got to go via this route or that route. That's cool. I think that must have already been. Yeah, I recognize this icon. I just didn't clock that that's what that actually was. That's kind of cool. All right, so then nuclear fume. Okay, so it does. It's just the basic uranium rod, right, that we use for the nuclear power plant. So that's cool. I guess if I wanted to do that real quick, could I? Can you like create stockpiles in this mode? Or do I have to build it all from that? Because I don't really care to do that just to test it out, but I do want to see the train itself. So, okay, so it's got 3 parts to it, the nuclear train does. So this must be in front of that. And have this behind it. Okay. Got it. That's a lot of power. Shall we compare that to, just give me a normal tier 2 train. So let's just say a typical diesel locomotive, right? Like, look how much more power that has than a diesel locomotive. Now, it's also more expensive to build. So like maybe just visually, it's worth comparing that to, I mean, it's basically, it's the equivalent of 4 diesel locomotives. And these are a little bit more powerful. The steam tends to be, but it's 3 steam. It's pretty good. What about the big hydrogen ones? How do they measure up? Yeah, love hydrogen. It's not the powerful train. Okay, cool. That's good to see. How are electric locomotives? They are somewhere in the middle. Okay. They're 2 power each, 2 megawatts of power each. So they're more powerful than hydrogen, less than steam, just slightly more than diesel. Okay, that feels about right. And then these turbine locomotives seem neat. So these guys, and then you have like, you can add a tender, but they take fuel gas, right? That's kind of cool. I like that. You end up with a lot of fuel gas and a bunch of different types of builds. You can run it, I guess. Here's a question. So you can turn fuel gas into hydrogen, 1-to-1-ish. How do those two measure up? I'm curious. Let's do that. So, for example, yeah. So for the same, no, it takes twice as much. Okay. So it does burn through the fuel pretty quick. But it does even out, essentially. They're both roughly 3 power. They're both roughly the same, essentially the same amount of each type of fuel. One pollutes, but in order to make this from this, you have to send CO2 into the air, so it probably does even out. That's interesting. Although overall, this has that's a pretty high max speed. See that? 140? That's pretty cool. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Hard for you to see blueprints on stone. Oh my god, yeah, no, 100%. That is like, actually, that's why I pave everything. Because I don't bother doing the grass perfectly, I actually pave over it because it's hard for me to see. Yeah, 100%. Especially if you like marble together, like, oh, I'm dumping rock and slag and trash and dirt in the same area. It just like, yeah, it makes an awful background for all of that. Yeah, completely agree. All right, so the nuclear train runs on nuclear fuel rods. That is a big question I had. That makes sense. It's powerful, but, you know, um, significant in its cost. The other thing I wanted to see real quick before I did this, how long does that last? Okay. 0.12 uranium rods per 60. Yeah, I mean, that's like that lasts a long time. To me, that's the huge like value prop of the nuclear train. It holds up against everything else. It seems like it's a pretty good comp. But really, it's about not having to refuel more than like once a century, right? So, this is 8 minutes of runtime before it needs to refuel. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. These little guys, these are the steam locomotives. These are, the description said, use them for little shuttle routes because they're pretty weak. And yes, they are. So comparing this, for example, this is available early, to be clear. That's a big pro. But comparing it to something that runs on the same things, by the way, you can use coal and water to generate steam, right? This is roughly equivalent. To be fair, I guess 4 water would turn into 4 steam. So maybe it's fair to say that that this is the right comp, but it's still less power. It's more maintenance. Yeah. The bottom fella has better top speed, but worse gradient speed, although that's a tough comparison. Steam locomotive is the best on the gradient. It's roughly comparable, but you kind of have to think about these as doubling up, I guess, or be shorter, smaller routes. So, okay, for example, like my typical steam locomotive train is with or without a tender, depending on distance, but usually with. Let's just use, this is like an early game train, right? A mining train. It's usually like 8 cars, steam locomotive with a tender. This little guy, I think you would actually do probably like this. Or, really, if you want to make a 1-to-1 comparison, this is actually probably a fair one, right? So for like our corn shuttle routes, moving around our base, but not really going up and down too much, this is a fine alternative, I think, to the steam locomotive. You could run 2 of these if you didn't quite need to run a full capacity train. I think it's smarter to use a smaller one because you don't have to pay for the like fixed cost of a full-on steam locomotive. So actually, where I could see this working out really well is probably in the like flat good manufacturing stuff. Like, oh, I've got all of these copper plates that I need to run over to my electronics factory because I manufacture them separately. It's like a decent amount of copper plates, but it's not like, the volume of copper ore that you have to bring in. So this is like almost like an urban shuttle type of move. It's like a half steam locomotive, I think is the way to think about that, or how I'm thinking about it. Okay. I can see a use case. I don't know that it excites me, but I do see the use case, actually. I think that's fair. I think I have to acknowledge that is a thing that I have complained about, is that trains previously were only really good for like long distance or transport. This fits exactly the use case that I was bemoaning that these trains did not fit. So, okay, all right, I'm coming around to it. I will probably build a couple of these things because I think they're cute, but I don't know that they're a huge strategic tool. But okay, all right, that's cool. And then these friggin' ladle cars. Nope, not that one. Look at these. All right, we gotta see what these look like in action. This feels like the right type of train to put in front of it. Can we ask you to build it? Oops. Fix train designs issues before. What's the issue? I guess I was just still comparing. And there it is. You want to come out? You're shy because you don't have a route to run. That's fine. That's fair. Let's get you a electrified molten station to run through. So again, I like, and this is exactly the sort of thing to gate behind a DLC because it's not important, but I like just don't understand when you would want to transport molten goods. Is this like, has anyone out there like been pining for such a thing? It's not something that's ever crossed my mind. That doesn't mean that it's not potentially useful, but it's not really my priority, I don't think. I don't know. Am I missing something? Someone think of something that I didn't? Like, that would not be a shocking development. Don't think you'd ever move molten stuff. Yeah, like, I don't know. I want to like it. Like I said, these are just sweet looking torpedo cars. But yeah, let's just at least take a peek at it. Do like the fuel gas train though. I mean, it's pretty cool, you know? Gotta give you that. Molten glass to nuclear. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Hodor. Credit. Well done. So, yeah, so let's pull up the recipe book because, oh, there's a sandbox menu. What is this? Oh, neat. Okay, cool. Sorry, got distracted. The nuclear recipes. So let's think about this. Molten glass is used here, right, for the spent fuel, like processing for the advanced nuclear goods. And I will say, as much as I have never really complained too much about having to build the glass melting stuff on site, I could see, say, piping the excess from your existing glass factory onto a train that then brings it in here, and it just simplifies. It simplifies where you would have this processing center. Nice to have, not need to have, but yeah, I think that is interesting. And DOJJ, okay, yeah. Transferring molten steel. Process your iron ore down to molten steel and transfer that to your steel plant instead of transferring the order as well. Yeah. No, I think that's another fairish one. I think I land on the same thing as you do. Like, I don't know that I would do it, but I could see someone doing it. So the point here is molten. Oh, what is this? This must be a sandbox thing. Interesting. I just want a recipe. I don't know why I'm doing this. So for molten iron, for example, you could take, I could see you could take overflow of your iron factory's molten iron and then send it somewhere else, right, to be turned into steel. Again, you could just build this right next to the same plant, right? It's not like this was never a possibility before. You just ran a very long channel. It's not even that long of a channel. It just depends on how far you want to go. But this is one spot where I could see. It's essentially like if you ever wanted to use excess molten from one area and send it somewhere else, that's a possibility. But I don't think there's anything else here that gets used in multiple spots. Maybe titanium, because it's two moltens across the spectrum. I don't know. Or sorry, like if you sent your molten aluminum, right, excess molten aluminum from your aluminum factory into your titanium factory to make the merged alloy. Like, we're grasping a little bit, but it's possible. What is the capacity of the wagon? Good question. It is, I guess, can you not click on the wagon itself? We can come back to the train design though. It is Yeah, it's 480. Okay. So it's essentially all of these new like tier 2 trains have a 480 capacity, which again, to be clear, is 4x the capacity of their predecessor in 2x the space. So it's not just more capacity, it's more density, if that makes sense, which is also helpful. That reduces train traffic overall. So if you had a train traffic issue in your base, raise your hand. My hand is way straight up right now. If you have a train traffic issue in your base, keeping the exact same capacity but moving it all up to tier 2 trains is going to reduce the total train throughput, like footprint, for the exact same throughput, excuse me. If you had 4 trains before, you can have one new train that is twice as long as the old trains, but it's half as long as all 4 trains back to back to back, if that makes sense. So no bonus advantage capacity for Molten. No, it's basically just a tier 2 train. There is no tier 1 Molten train. And the other part here too, right? All of the Moltens, like, I think this is true of all of them, right? Molten Iron, so you make Molten Iron, you get 48 out of the 48 that you put in. So one of the other things where I could think that transporting is helpful is if you compress, right? So one of the things I always say when someone says, oh, should I make from steel or iron my mechanical parts? I don't make my mechanical parts at my steel factory. I transport steel to wherever I need mechanical parts and then make them on site because it's more compact. But it's not something like you don't have that sort of reverse compression dynamic in the molten level. So for example, if you're going to make your mechanical parts from iron, you should make them on site and then transport the mechanical parts. If you're going to make them from steel, you should make the steel, transport the steel, and then make the mechanical parts on site. But there's no change in volume for anything molten, really, that I can think of. It's all 1-to-1, right? Or, I guess the early stage recipes before you get into the crushed ones are a reduction, but you don't have a tier 2 train at this point, so it's a moot point. You have a use case for the new Molten train, a challenge playthrough where every balance pipe channel run needs to include a train on it. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. We could do it because it's cool, because it looks sweet. And that is more than sufficient justification, right? Because, look at those things. They look like bombs. That's kind of a baller train, right? I don't know. It's an insane concept that looks neat, and that is plenty sufficient justification. So, fair point. Fair point. All right. What else do we want to take a peek at? I mean, I think the electric we've looked at all the comparisons, I think, except for the captain's locomotive. I love that it runs on hydrogen too. They know their audience. And I think we understand the refueling logistics of the less obvious ones. Are there any of these train stations that are new? Not really, right? Can you show the load unload animation? Oh yeah, totally. I guess we'd have to have some molten in there to do that, but we certainly can. So, I don't know. Maybe we just make these. This seems like a new... Perfect. So let's do some molten iron. We'll need to tell it to load, I guess. Oh, that's at this station. Yep, load. And then over here, unload. Let's take a peek. That's pretty sweet. A lot of sparks flying, right? Can you see it filling up? Kind of, right? Hard to see in there, but... yeah. And now it's full. Oh my god, did they put a hat on it, or does it just travel like that? That seems dangerous. Cool. Steel alloy could still benefit from molten wagons given they can't be elevated. It's a pain to make more than 1x alloy mixer. Titanium. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I think anywhere where you need an or like when you need a molten product that you could just siphon excess from an existing factory rather than having to create new on-site factory um, capacity. I think that makes sense, right? So, for example, like we don't have to talk theoretically here. We can actually like do the sketch. So if I were a molten titanium, I would have to go into an alloy mixer, right? And the molten titanium comes from upstream at the titanium factory, right? This is where, and there's a whole back setup over here. Like this is all already being built in order to stand this all up. And then at the very end, it's like kind of annoying. All of a sudden you need molten aluminum. And like, by the way, not a lot of it, right? In order to make the, you have to cast it, but you have to mix them together and then you make the final titanium product. If you're at this point too, by the way, you already have aluminum because you've gone and done this part of the tech tree already in order to unlock this one. And you've got this aluminum factory and it's probably got a little bit of excess aluminum from insert whatever. And the way that I used to handle this sort of minor irritation is, well, we're usually recycling some aluminum from consumer electronics, if nothing else. And then I would say, all right, well, then all I really need to do is just bring over a little bit of recycling, drop it off over here, and we'll just put in whatever molten aluminum we need in here. It's not the end of the world, but it was a little bit annoying to have to add a whole new production chain otherwise in this area. What you could do instead is say, well, at my old aluminum factory, I'll just send overflow with a molten balancer and say, well, priority here, but if we are full up already, right, then I send this out to a train station. And that train station does not need to be huge either, because 480 is a lot for 12 molten aluminum throughput. So I could see that being like kind of an unobtrusive little thing. You could shuttle it basically from one factory to another instead of having to create new factory capacity. So yeah, I think I'll probably try to do this in the update 4 playthrough just to see how it feels, like rather than just talking it through and sketching it. So I'm sure we'll use that. I'm definitely going to like try to find reasons to use all of these. But some of them I think are going to be easier or harder than others for sure. But okay, cool. So that's cool. What else? Do we have other questions? We got through molten steam, fuel gas one, nuclear, and electric. Anything else you guys want to see in sandbox mode? Because the next thing I was thinking about wanting to do is the new map, the Archipelago map. Because like I said, starting like tomorrow, I'm going to start filming our new update 4 playthrough, and I think that's going to be the map. It'd be kind of fun to poke around. Just for the cool factor, at least. Yeah, I agree. I think more trains is better. Working backwards from that, like that's really all the justification you need, frankly. So going once, going twice. Yell if you've got thoughts on the sandbox mode. We can always come back, but it's a loading screen, so it does raise the barrier. But I think we're ready to take a spin at the Archipelago map. So let's do it. All right. Ooh, I'm gonna have to update my little icon that I put on all the thumbnails. Update 4, bridges, tier 2 trains and amphibious vehicles. All right, new game. Keep our mods. And let's go. Is it Shattered Isles? I thought it was called Archipelago. Am I crazy? This is the new one, right? Yeah, has to be. Did they call it Archipelago in the announcement, or did I just like straight up hallucinate that? Pretty good chance. Pretty good chance I hallucinated it. All right, so it seems like this is where they suggest you start. Victor, welcome. Yeah, it's the first stream where you haven't been like first by a mile. Well done. Sorry, all streaks have to come to an end at a certain point, but it's remarkable that you went on on a multi-stream streak. Well done and welcome. Yeah, so we are, if we're just catching you up, we poked around at some of the new content in the existing Corn playthrough. We just messed around in the sandbox mode as well for a bit. We are now looking at the new map that I think is going to be the one that we do our update for playthrough for, which should, yeah, have episode 1 out in the next couple days, hopefully. So this is where you would start. This seems reasonable. Some oil, iron, yada, yada, yada. All right, here's the thing. We're just going to load it. I don't know why I'm like looking at it in this level. I think we'll start with with location 1, but let's keep in mind the other one that we could do is just across this channel, 3, 4. All right, so it's basically the 4 biggest corner islands. So we'll evaluate starting positions there. Well, I mean, we're definitely going Admiral right now because who cares? We're not actually starting a game, but that way we get the credit. Let's go. Is anyone else starting their own update for new playthrough, or are you all continuing with existing saves? I'm like, I don't know. I'm excited to do a new map as well. I feel like I've kind of played all of the existing ones a pretty decent amount. Nice to have something fresh, and particularly one that, yeah, is going to make good use of all the bridge stuff. What else do we say here? Pre-existing docking areas might not be working if built near shallow waters. Yep, we did run into that. Working and living the new update 3. Fair enough, Grape Train. Matt's going to start fresh in the new map. Hell yeah. Very good. Let's see, what else did we covered all of this, right? We did bridges, amphibious vehicles, pathfinding for ships. Oh, world mine capacity was increased as well. Interesting. And ship capacity increased to compensate for longer travel times. Okay. Okay, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if that'll actually feel different or not. I'm not sure. Yeah, and there's our, you can only go to -5 disclaimer for amphibious vehicles. It's like if I read the patch notes, I would be more well informed. I have to learn by doing sometimes. Thanks for joining on. All right, cool. So, I know we looked at where the locations, the resources were, but that view does not tell you how much there are. And that is, I think, a pretty critical thing for us. So starting oil patch, right? How much is that? I guess we have to build the oil thing in order to do it. I wish you could do sandbox within a certain map. Is that a thing you can do? Probably not. But that's a decently sized oil patch. It's not, you know, it's larger than the starting one on New Haven, for example. That's probably what, like maybe 50k oil? Not sure. But it's enough to get started for sure. It's a decent sized first farming reservoir. I guess you come up here. All right, you can go up this. You don't have to build a ramp right away. Also nice. Sand nearby. Sand very nearby. And this will be amphibious vehicle accessible sand as well. Limestone's all the way over here. Big chunk of coal over here, though. Plenty of copper. More oil in the corner. Oh, limestone's over here, too. Quartz. Gold. Bauxite. Bauxite's always on a weird little island by itself, you know? I don't know why that is. It's late game. I usually just end up going to the quarry, to the world mine for it, but what can you do? All right, but this is the other start, potentially, I think, if I remember correctly. Island number 2. This is not bad either. A lot of sand. Ton of copper. The iron's a little bit tougher. That's your starting iron deposit. and your second's all the way over there. That's not incredible, although the limestone's way better. That's enough limestone for the whole game, or at least, you know, 1,000 years or so. And there's more over there. Not a huge coal deposit. Okay. I want to say this was another one. That's a lot of oil. That's what that is. That is a ton of oil. And a ton of limestone again. Gold in the hills. Okay. And then I think the last potential start was over here. Oh, nice. Big beach. You kind of dig that beach out and let the water kind of go through the channel. Pump the oil first, but you know, what I wonder now, given we have amphibious vehicles and the ability to extract materials underground or underwater, there's, I think is it in Kurland? There's an underwater oil deposit. And the way that it's framed, because it's an older one, the way that it's framed is you have to fill in the land in order to extract. I think it'd be really cool if we got like deep water oil rigs or something. I know that's kind of what the world map represents right now, but wouldn't it be cool to see it instead? I don't know. That would be neat. Ooh, tiny oil island. Look at this. This map actually has like a lot of oil in general. Not all concentrated on one accessible island, but okay, so overall reactions. Also uranium. Overall reactions. Cool map. I like this. I think we'll probably just start on the first island, wherever it is. This one? This one, yes. This seems reasonable. If nothing else, it's where everyone else will start by default, or not everyone, but many people, so it'll be relatable. But I like it in general because it's like, I'm already starting to think, all right, which island are you heading to next, right? Well, it's a bit of a function of geography. It's also a function of like, well, what is your starting island's weak point, right? So if I look around at the weak point of this island, what are you going to run out of first? Like, I think it's iron, right? So, well, this island over here certainly has some iron, you know, among other things. So, like, it kind of, you have a good starting island, but you also have, I think, already very quickly an understanding that I need to branch out, and how I do that is an interesting choice, and that's what we love here, interesting choices, right? Imagine multiplayer in this game on this map. Oh my god, yes. Yeah, that'd be sweet as hell. Like, intra-island, combine that with the you know, with the new cargo ship. We were talking about shipping stuff island to island yourself rather than just having to do contracts or world maps. Imagine multiplayer on this map with the ability to manually trade, and you're just like, hey, I've got iron, anyone got copper? I'd love to exchange, and I'm willing to pay a premium. Send me a boat. Yeah, that'd be sweet as hell, wouldn't it? Oh man, imagine multiplayer Captain of Industry. God, that'd be cool. You'd specialize, right? You'd be the electronics guy, or the, you know, the raw resources guy, or the advanced whatever. Like, yeah, that would be so much fun. Oh my god. If they ever do that, we are starting a server, no question. That would be very fun. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I think this is probably it. Get used to the shape of this island. I think that's going to be the face of our playthrough. I'll poke around with it a little bit, but like, it's going to take a good amount to move me off of this island to a different one. Again, just because you got to start somewhere, and this seems fine, right? Like, the things you absolutely have to have early: good iron, but it gets worse pretty quick. Like, this is under a lot of mountain. You've got enough trees to start. You like the trees on the beach? Nice little touch. Yeah, right? Lose the resource layer for a second. Cute. I mean, we're going to cut them down, unfortunately, but it's a good starting spit. It's nice. I love when the nature that you get to destroy is aesthetically compelling at the beginning. It makes it that much, like, funnier, I think. I love that with Satisfactory too. It's a gorgeous environment, and then it starts trying to kill you, and so you don't feel bad about killing it, but it's very fun to just blast a whole bunch of trees and stuff. All right, so yeah, copper's not so bad. little bit of extra iron or oil out this way as well. This feels like a pretty comfortable start, right? I think it's pretty comfortable. Gold patch. So where are your bridges, right? So you're going to run bridges to other islands. Like this channel feels right. And talk about like a map for showing off new ship finding as well, or ship path finding as well. Like you're going to run your docks in and around all over the place here. That's pretty cool. Also, I didn't notice this uranium island. That's fun. And you know what? The other thing to keep in mind too, you can mine on other islands without bridges. You just send your amphibious vehicles over. If you want to mine this beach from this island, great. It's right there. It's right there. You actually don't need a bridge. And in fact, I bet you could unity build or have your amphibious vehicles do it. Amphibious means they're good on land too. You kind of don't need a bridge to expand across the other island, do you? Do they have amphibious tree harvesters? Because that's usually my problem. I run out of trees and I need to plant them and I hate planting them. I would love to be able to send a tree harvester over there. I'm calling my shot now. It's going to take us like 2 weeks of episodes, but the forcing function that'll get us to build our first bridge is I run out of trees and I get annoyed and I want to cut down the next island's trees. But yeah, like you don't actually ever have to move onto this island, so to speak, to mine all of this uranium. Your amphibious vehicles, starting from any island, can just come over here and dig it down to level -5. Cool. That actually means my quip about the bauxite earlier is also outdated, right? Just send your vehicles over here. Who cares? It's not just about mining underwater. It's about traversing water to access mines. Huh. Okay. That's a small but meaningful realization, I think, actually. Like, worst case scenario, we run out of iron over there. Just send some amphibious vehicles across the channel. And then the whole waterway looks alive, you know? Cool. Yeah, I'm coming around to this. It's making my brain happy. I'm thinking about different stuff. Amphibious tree harvesters that tend to mangrove swamp style submerged trees would be awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I was down in Puerto Rico a few months ago. There's like a little island called Vieques, and they have this like natural luminous bay. What's it called? There's a phrase that I'm forgetting that's absolutely the right technical definition here. But it's these little biological microorganisms that feed off of the sun to make the light, but also they're like nourished by the mangroves in the area. Super cool. Love mangrove trees. They're like the only ones that grow in salt water, right? I think that's right. Like there's other trees that you can, they can grow semi-submerged or whatever, but mangrove trees do it in salt water. I think that's the thing. I could be wrong. Might be making that up. Bioluminescence, yes, thank you. Bioluminescent bay. Yeah, it's alliteration, and that's the reason I'm supposed to remember it, but forgot. Very cool. Yeah. All right, good. This is cool. I'm like, I don't know. One of my favorite moments in every sandbox game is right at the beginning before you unpause, because it doesn't look anything like it now. This will be a Metropolis, right? Like you can already kind of see what we're gonna do. We'll start down here, but a lot of our work is actually going to be up on this plateau. And it's more work than necessary to flatten all of this. So we're actually going to have like, we're going to have sort of a terraced base in some ways here. And a lot of our mining operations are going to be out here. So I don't know, you don't want to bring in all your smelting down here. This is going to get crowded real fast. Usually end up with like a, 3x3, like 9 at least settlement, and this space is barely enough for that and the supporting infrastructure that you really do want right by. So like coastal desalination, wastewater treatment, all that kind of stuff. I usually manufacture like household goods and all of that right next to the settlement as well, but you don't have to do that. But you can see like, well, if that's the case, then manufacturing will have to be, I don't know, maybe manufacturing is up here. because all of that is the mining stuff. And so we'll be bringing via trains of various length, manufacturing up here. And this is our cute little settlement area with a small mountainous backdrop and plenty of manufacturing with smoke rising up into the sky in the distance. That's pretty sweet. I'm into it. I can see it. Can you see it? I can see it. Very cool. All right, so I think I've like taken a peek at all of the stuff I had been thinking about. What else do y'all want to see? Is there anything else you want to see in the new update content? Obviously, we're gonna get into a proper playthrough that uses all of it here in the coming weeks. But is there anything day of that we haven't touched on that we should? What is this? Captain of Industry sign? A big sign displaying the Captain of Industry logo? Well, now I feel like we got to go back into Sandbox and take a peek at that. See, there's all this little stuff that I know we're going to run into along the way. Now I'm like looking for all the smallest little new icons, right? Like, what do I not recognize? I think that right there probably sent me on a goose chase that is not actually helpful at all. There's our little captains. Now, I just don't recognize the gas injection pump logo because I never build it. Electric trains, nuclear trains, so on and so forth. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some stuff. The one other question I did have, actually, was what changes, if any, they made to the space program? Because last update, it was trains, it was also the space program, right? They pushed it a bit further, and they said that with the framing of, well, you know, we figured any space program was better than none. The game was just missing one, really, at this point. And they said they were, we're going to add more into the future. They updated a lot of trains. Obviously, there's a lot more train content. Even DLC aside, there's a lot more train depth. And by the way, they I think, listened to a lot of the feedback about trains that the community gave them. Like, they need to be accessible earlier. They move up in the tech tree already. They don't hold up later on throughput. They lose to mega vehicles when those come into play. They added tier 2 trains. I don't see any evidence, and I certainly didn't hear them talk about any changes to the space program. I don't think they snuck in anything here that I don't recognize. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't mind. I don't think the space program is the most important part of the game at all. Not even close, quite frankly. But I am curious to see that there wasn't any movement on it, if that is in fact true. Yeah, this all looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Nothing wrong with that, especially if it meant well, they could have, but it would have delayed this release 3 more months. I would take that trade, to be clear. It's just sort of interesting to try to read between the lines on their priorities. Anyway, all right, well, what do y'all want to do? I have a little bit more time here. There's still plenty of folks in the chat. We could mess around, start a game, just kind of chat a little bit further. I could do that for a little bit. There's nothing else, I don't think that, unless there's anything y'all want a specific look at, I think what we might do is just kind of, I don't know, enjoy the Captain of Industry vibes, and I'll just kick off a quick practice start here. How about that? Let's do that. If you got any other Update 4 questions or things you want to see, just yell. We'll stop and we'll pause and take a peek. But I think otherwise, I might just kind of enjoy the Captain of Industry vibe here and get rolling. How's that sound? Grab ourselves some early stuff, early game stuff. Let's see. Of course, we want our... You know what? I think we're going to do, like what I said, let's do manufacturing up here right away, even. So, blast furnace, metal casters, smokestack. We need a diesel generator. This I will do. We have our oil over here. Yeah, okay. So we'll do here, how about a lab, probably even 2, just to get things down on the ground, and a coal maker, naturally, for this area as well. All of this being temporary in a playthrough that is temporary. I'm not going to stress too much about placement. But let's get everybody connected up here. Leave a little bit of space for some slag export. In fact, you know what? Let's just do that right away. Oh, we don't have belts. What am I doing? Yeah, and then the last thing, of course, we're going to need to do is get some dang trees harvested. Mr. Harvester needs a pair of trees, and I think we are ready to unpause. We have a farm. Remind me, we have a groundwater pump. It's not until all the way up there. We'll need a farm before then. Let's just go ahead and throw it here, maybe? Terrain too high. Sad. How about that for now? Very good. Cool. So let's get going here. And what do we need? What is this? What is rotation? Minimum turn clearance. Okay, another new boat pathfinding statistic. Got it. Height, width, turn. Depth. I guess that's got to be the bottom, right? Makes sense. It's actually a pretty shallow draft for as heavy a ship as it gets. I wonder if it gets lower as you do the various ship upgrades. Could see that. Could see that. And you've got our diesel. This is a little bit further away from the shipyard than I typically like to have this starting stuff, but I think this is a little bit more future-proof, again, for a game that we're going to play for not that long, but so be it. Ah, our uptime is bad. What do we do next? Maintenance feels right. I mean, really, it's vehicles, frankly, before maintenance. And we have people. We don't need beacon quite yet. Maybe grab a trade dock. Then maintenance. Sure. Iron is produced. Well, let's grab it. Potatoes will take care of itself. Construction is happening. Oh yeah, waste. So, -1. So that we can grass it later. Oh, that's -2. Interesting. This starts at +5. Okay. There we go. Good to know. And we need the waste collection module. Very good. Very good. It's always fun to start anew. All right, let's get assembly. Frankly, let's get like 4 of them. Food, nice. And construction parts. Let's say do that twice over here. Go mechanical and electronics. Sure, why not? Do we have the... We do. Aha, psych trucks. Just stole your job. So much Unity early. Construction parts should go quickly from here. That's a decent amount. It's doable. Grab the ship dock repair after that as well. But vehicles and mining is one of the more expensive starting techs. 9, 27, whatever. It's all relative. But I think it is useful to get your mining operations up and running quickly. So let's get ourselves The vehicle depot makes sense to have it up here for a couple of reasons. Our manufacturing inputs are up here, but also the mines that we would send it to are also up here. So we'll let that get going as well. Check, check. I still like this little oil island over here. That's what this is, right? Yeah, it's fun. Let's grab ourselves a trading dock. I hate placing these on like ragged shorelines at the beginning. To find one that works. Pixel Hunt is just kind of a boring game to play, if I'm being honest. There we go. That'll work. Maintenance researched, so let's get that up and running. This should be up this way because the outputs are there. Instant build, why not? We have it. And by it, I mean the Unity. Grab this goal in a moment once that's run through. Trading dock will take a second to get all of those logs from, but shouldn't be too big a deal. I think we start by logging this area just to sort of clear out the space for our manufacturing setup. I think we'll go iron before coal. Start by flattening as always. And we'll need an ore sorter, naturally, to go along with that. Iron, rock, and dirt. Get after it and have some staff. Maintenance is done. Very good. Let's get that on high priority. We just run our truck network pretty aggressively in the early game, and I would prefer not to run out of it. The trading dock really needs to get up there. Come on. Board of waiting. The beacon. Also, we should get slapped down. We're going to run out of workers otherwise. Go ahead and instant build that one. And I suppose we need more housing. Not right away, but because in order to get the bonus, we'll need it. And we'll need it eventually anyway. Iron ore is coming. Oh, nice quick trade. Concrete for iron. Always happy to do that. Pays for itself. And our last new pickup, a little bit of Unity will help him out there. Actually, I think we're going to go 2 more of those real quick because our truck network is not keeping up. Enable the iron ore recipe and prioritize it, in fact, so that we can dump that slag, which I think is the next one. Yeah. Very good. What else are we waiting for here? We've got some refugees. We'll let that run up. We're going to need all of that pop pretty quick, so we might as well. And what's our bottleneck right now? It's probably construction parts, right? Well, ship dock repair actually is going to change things real quick. Go for it. Yeah, let's take, can we get a construction parts loan at this point? Yep, let's do it. Give me all of it, please, and thanks. Grab a recipe. And let's get that topped off so we can get out onto the map. Come on. You threw the dirt yet? Just about. Just about. Let's and this is the one thing they didn't fix that I still complain about. I really do wish you could add a focus for every one of the excavators serving the mind control tower, because 90% of the time, not 100%, but 90% of the time, I want them all doing the same thing anyway. It's annoying to go one by one. Oh well. No big deal. Ship dock is repaired. More refugees. Let's keep that full. Load the crew. Let's get out there. How about that? The beginning of our consumption of diesel means we should probably prioritize the generation of some more of it. So let's do that. And how are we on processing iron ore? It's not really happening yet. I guess you have to finish mining it before you can process it. Fair enough. So let's think about diesel for a moment. And we're just going to do it all over here. It's pretty straightforward. One of the things I want to do a little bit differently this time compared to our update 3 playthrough, and by this time I mean the proper playthrough, will start tomorrow, not what we're doing right now, is move to a smaller refinery first. It's one of those things that I personally tend to do, is wait and do the transition bigger rather than sort of doing it as soon as you can. I do the same thing with copper. I always wait almost too long to get copper set up properly. I think I'm going to try to move a little bit earlier and do a smaller setup at first, rather than sort of making these big jumps, because I think that's one of the things folks struggle with, is making big changes, big upgrades. And I don't want to imply or suggest that that's the right, best, or most beginner accessible way to do things. So I think I'm going to try to make a very intentional effort to start small and scale up. Small before we need to do it, rather than waiting for a tiny bit of extra efficiency, doing it simply later because we can. I don't know if that makes sense. What do we do next? I need my tools. And then I think we just beeline construction too. So let's get some oil up and running. I usually prefer just grab 3 of these right away, because that's what a 60 pipe can handle. Connect them up here and here, and then go into the distiller. Leave a little bit of room here so that we can put a storage in. Have we unlocked storages yet? Maybe we have. Ah, look at that, we have. So let's do that. In fact, I'll even move you over a little bit. There's some crude. Need to keep, this is the issue. Right, I guess that's why I built that other excavator subconsciously, is coal, although we don't have belts yet, so there's really no point in that quite yet. We can leave it there. What else do you need? Yeah, exhaust. So let's do that, and then, of course, the actual diesel export. I think we'll just have them, manually dump this for now? Guess we could just sort of run it over. Yeah, let's just do that. What am I looking for? I want a dump of the liquid persuasion. That I will have them do manually, though. Yeah, I love this. This is my favorite under-the-radar change. They have moved liquid dumps from being essentially a tier 1 pipe to being a tier 2 pipe. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but I hated, and you'd always have 7 of these things in a row to handle all that throughput. It's so much better. There's no more fun in having a bunch of small liquid dumps, and there wouldn't be fun in having to upgrade them to tier 2. It's just yeah, make tier 1 better. Great, done, easy. Corn seeds, oh my god, it's a sign. Guys, we got corn seeds already. It is a sign. Very good. Let's grab our iron ore reward. All of the rest of this should take care of itself here in a moment. Now we need some storages for iron and construction parts. So iron and construction parts. And then the limestone mine, although I think we actually need to prioritize coal first. I know we have our coal maker, but I would rather kick off a coal mine. I'm actually going to let them start up a level. It doesn't have to be flat, it doesn't matter. But we should do another mining crew to get a limestone mine. Now our starting limestone, do we go out here? Yeah, I mean, I guess we can't even physically reach there, so yes, we do. Okay. Do we have the ability to take more construction parts? No, of course not. They're quite sick of us already. Our credit is terrible. When does it give us the pause your beacon goal? It's one of my favorite ones. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Just toggle pause. But I think it triggers at a certain number of population. Loot. Neat. Still can't believe we got corn seeds so early. Should save the seed in case I do another one of those on this map. Be perfect. There we go. That should work out nicely, and I do think we have enough coal around the base with the coal maker to still at least have that in motion. Maybe we boost it, we have the unity. Cargo ship right away. Nice. And time for limestone mine. Let's go. I think we probably need 4 sorters as well. Not that we have anywhere near enough construction parts, but we'll still need them. Nothing's functional without them. Over this way is coal. Bam. Diesel production done. And, vehicle parts. Right. I don't know. I feel like you pick up enough vehicle parts on the world map that it really doesn't matter right away. But sure, right? You know what drives me nuts? There are 40 mechanical parts sitting inside this machine as an output of this recipe, but it doesn't recognize any of them as a potential input to this recipe. It would make multi-recipe manufacturing early game so much easier if it were a smoother process there. Disable truck import. Yep. So there's that, and it turns out, yep, we did the entirety of that one already. We need to make 8 vehicle parts. We need to get our limestone up and running, and these are required. Here we go. For that one. Yep, see, that's what I mean. We bring back a ton of vehicle parts. I never bother making them early. Let's get out there again. Refueled. And keep full if you can, would also be helpful. I feel like we need more trucks. Always a pinch early. Oh, these are coming along faster than I thought. Not bad. Would have preferred to prioritize these, I guess, but we have no limestone production. We have at least some coal production over here, so fine, fair enough. Oh, this is a good question. Where the heck? I kind of like I didn't watch the new ship pathfinding. Where is he? He'll be on his way back. She'll be on her way back. Sorry, ships are ladies. Well, we're not going to end up with spare construction parts in storage for a moment here, are we? You want to lend me some more construction parts, world? Not so much. Yeah, that's fair. Are we blocked anywhere that would be helpful? Not really. Good enough. Vehicle parts. Oh, there we go. Let's pause that. As I said, I really don't make use of that early. We have stockpiled. Very good. Location is explored. Oil rig. Nice. And some more refugees. We are close to full on pops. How is our 9.6, 6.9? We are not doing so hot on sufficient potato production. Please continue harvesting trees. So that is going to mean we should grab ourselves another farm here. Can we squeeze in? Ah, of course not. Well, that just looks terrible, but it's going to look terrible no matter what at this point. So fine. Location explored. All right, let's watch him come home come home because I do want to watch the new pathfinding. Which way will it come from? I'm curious. I wonder if that depends on the direction of the world map that it went out to. Perfect. Sunny out, just in time for us to have the visibility to see it coming. Where are you coming from? Should be here any second. Boom, over there. Cool. That makes sense. Edge of the map, I guess, right? That's so cool. It looks way smoother and like, I don't know, more realistic than used to just sort of slide in parallel like that out of nothing. Neat. That's still going to parallel park, so to speak, but it looked much more realistic on the way in. I will say that. All right, are we holding up out here? Good enough. How about you? Good enough. Not even close. So what I'd love to do, actually, is get some of this out of here so that we can actually expel the vehicle parts. That is the one issue, but slightly hard to calculate contract throughput with the new ship nav, but you think worth the trade-off? Yeah, that's a good point. And I bet, you know, we didn't, obviously it was part of the definition, we didn't do contracts in the corn playthrough, but I bet if we played our Update 3 playthrough, which had a lot of contracts by the end, I'd be willing to bet, actually, that we would have to rebalance a little bit of our eco. Because it's like, you know, it's the same ratios, right? But throughput, right? You've changed the duration of a ship's transit. And you haven't made it shorter. In fact, you've made it longer because it has to navigate out of the map instead of simply, like, animating its disappearance. So yeah, I think it said it increased capacity to try to offset that, and I'm sure that it does, but I'm also sure that it changes things specific to each contract and specific to where you are on the island, right? It's not gonna be the same every time. It actually does matter where you put the contract on the map. So like, for example, if we were really hyper optimizing, we would put our docks out here, I guess, if this is based only on the fact that our ship came and went that way. if this is the edge of the map, the most efficient thing you could do, not that you should always solve for that, but just to illustrate, would be to build your docks out here. It's the least travel time, right? Whereas as cool as it would be to have it come all the way in here, it adds time. And that doesn't change its capacity, so it just slows its overall throughput. So yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point. The travel slower to save fuel toggle is going to get turned off a lot more, I think. Although I like having that on. I'd rather have like a bigger boat going slow if possible. I tend to wait and make my cargo docks only when, like, bare minimum you have 4, but ideally 8 slots even. Which I don't know if that's, again, it's not optimal. It's not about being optimal, but talk about things I tend to put off until you can do better. But that's one of the nice things about that is if your capacity is huge, you have a lot of wiggle room. As always, our ship unload throughput issue is about how much freaking copper is just sitting here, clogging it up. So be it. I'm not going to stop exploring about that, though. Let's get back out there. That should hopefully cover our food increase. I wish you could toggle like a rolling average. I hate trying to estimate spiky productions. Like, by definition, crops are always like this, harvests, right? You produced 30 a minute all of a sudden when you spat out 30, and then you produced 0 the next minute. You know, like, it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna eyeball this and say it's roughly 10, but like, that's not what we need. We need more than roughly 10. We need to know, is it more or less than the 9.6 that our people were, now 11, were demanding? It's another area where, like, they have the data. It's just the way that you present it to the user, to the player. So I don't know. That would be I think a more intuitive way to see it. I'd love to see, like, on average, what did I produce over the last 10 minutes? You know? Oh my gosh, so many early game texts. Oh, and I'm dismissing ones we actually haven't made use of yet. Doesn't matter. All right, there it is. Pause that beacon. Build a kiln. I guess we should do that out here. I don't know. We should probably transport limestone, right? Yeah, you compress it down to concrete slabs, but you bring in more stuff to offset it. The water doesn't transport. I guess you should arguably build the kiln out here. I'm splitting hairs, but that's probably right. I also would not hate if they kind of got rid of this kiln. Like, we're just now building it. We could be actively researching advanced concrete if we wanted to be right now. Like, this is so early. Why do we need this? It's literally 3 techs away. And it's, like, so much better, efficiency-wise. I don't know. This is one I wouldn't be shocked if they got rid of. Half the reason we have the kiln in the first place was bricks, right? From the earlier version of the game. It was like dirt plus coal or something. I can't remember. But it was made in this kiln, if I remember correctly. So, like, it's a little bit of an appendage, or an appendix. Not in the end of a book sense, but the, like, vestigial organ sense. Too early to ask what you think update in 5 will include. Honestly, no. Because I think what you can say update 5 is likely to contain is a function of what's still missing in the game, but not yet in update 4. So, you know, with that lens, I think we said that, you know, the space program is not quite perfect yet. And that's fine, but, like, I would expect a second pass at the space program at a minimum in an update 5. It's hard to say what I think is missing still from the stuff they've at least tried to address, because I haven't decided if it does that, but let's just assume that they've got trains pretty much perfect. That would be that would be a huge jump for me. I liked update three's start. There's just some stuff that I think it looks like they've got basically sorted. Let's find out. But assuming that they do, like that's a big hole in the game patched in my mind at least. What else would you need, right? From there, it's all nice to have stuff. Like, I honest to God think, like, Update 5 could actually be 1.0. And, you know, from some angles, Update 3 could have been 1.0. But as far as their, core gameplay stuff that they really want to be super polished, I think the world map probably gets another pass. This is not the most engaging part of the game, and it's not a problem. It's starting to stand out compared to the how good the rest of the game is, how polished the rest of the game is. So I wouldn't be shocked if they end up taking another pass here. I do think, there are some things that are nice to have, but the community, has asked for them in one form or another frequently enough that I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Things like island to island transport, like we were talking about earlier, your own sort of intra map water logistics, so to speak. I could absolutely see that being a cool layer for them to add. It's super optional. It's not missing from the game right now, but it would add a lot of value. Still missing from the game. Like I said, it's a tough question. That's a good indicator that we're pretty close, I think, overall, big picture. It's the late game, right? I mean, it's just it's where you can see this as a scaffold, but not a finished product. For example, Electronics 4 is a thing that exists. And what do you use it for? Nothing. Just space probe parts and the reactor that you use for asteroid, right? That's for the asteroid booster, right? Yeah. So, yeah. You jumped in on Update 3, 90% of the experience is easily good for a complete game, map space for you, and tech need polish, like you say. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's you came in, I think, certainly for the more polished half of early access. I guess that's how it works, right? The second half is more. But I mean, this was what, 2021 was the alpha, is that right? 22, something like that. It's been a few years, right? I say half, but it's we're way past the halfway mark of early access. I hope we're not past the halfway mark of active development. Just because I think there's a lot of stuff that would be cool that they could add, but anything that's you don't need to add, but you could add, that's the sort of stuff you do on the other side of 1.0, right? So, it can still be fundamental stuff. It's just that, if you don't have any gaps left, then you're ready for 1.0. And so, to me, right, world map's a gap. This is an abstraction layer. I don't know what the right answer is, but this just isn't super compelling, and it hasn't evolved much. But that's different than, well, I would like to be able to send cargo ships from one island to another within my own map. That could easily be categorized as a 1.0 thing. The tech tree has to be finished, though, right? The tech tree cannot be like this for 1.0 in my mind. That's not feature complete. It doesn't mean you can't add new technologies along the way, but this is an entire segment of the tech tree. They didn't have to make it this long, but they did, so it needs to be fleshed out, right? But they will. I'm not surprised at all. Or I won't be surprised at all, rather, if they do. I'll be surprised if they don't. So, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's a really, like I said, zooming out, it's really cool that the answer that I genuinely have for you of what's in Update 5 is honestly not much. It's probably 1.0. That's a really good spot the game's in. You want to zoom all the way out and see the whole map? Yeah, I cannot tell you how many times you hopefully can't hear it because that way my mic needs adjusted. But every time I zoom all the way out, you'll hear my scroll wheel potentially trying to go further. I have the exact same instinct. I'm like, come on, come on. I will also say, I think that would help. So I have this personal issue where I get myopic and I like build a small, compressed, tiny little base. You see this in the builds that I make. I'm making a specifically explicit effort to expand and spread a little bit more. Trains have been such a help on that. Dragon Tail looked a lot better, I think, for that reason. But you know what doesn't help? The fact that I can't keep it all zoomed out in my mind. It's hard for me to understand the superstructure of the base as a result. So I agree. It would be nice. I bet there's a mod out there that unhard caps the zoom out, but they should absolutely incorporate that. Whatever they add, I hope it's still in the same spirit of marginal gains as spinning plates. Yeah. 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 No, 100%. I mean, the soul of the game, by that you mean like each of these new things that we upgrade is like, it's a small game, but it adds up over time. And there's a whole lot of like making sure the wheels don't fall off along the way. Like, I think that's what you mean by that, I assume, because that's how I think about the game. Like, so much time is spent like putting out fires you didn't realize you just started, and you can't be upset. It's your own fault. You're in charge, right? But the cool thing is, and we said this earlier, we're talking about troubleshooting with the statistics, they make that fun somehow, right? Like, I notice myself feeling like, oh boy, the stakes just got real high. I need to like focus. But that's not a bad thing. It doesn't make me want to shut the game down. It makes me genuinely want to focus and pay attention and figure it out. Like, that's fun. That's very cool. That's a very exciting. I don't know how they've managed to do that. I really don't. Like, that's magic. That's when you have a good game. That's when you know you have a good game. So I am sure. I also hope and am also sure they will continue to make sure that we are spinning plates. No question. Oh man. So that is the other problem though about super far mining. I said this earlier, right? Like we were talking about refueling. The excavators, until you have a refueling station, will take it upon themselves to drive all the way across the damn map if necessary to get a storage, which reminds me, I should probably just build one like here. But the moment that we add a refueling station, even if it's not functional in some way, they'll stop being willing to do that. They'll simply wait until someone comes to them. It's probably the right oversimplification, but it is an oversimplification. It is big fan of Banished too, no surprise. I never played Banished. How was it? I mean, you said you're a big fan, so I'm imagining the answer is good, but what'd you like about it? Sounds like it was also putting out fires. There's like, I don't know, one of my favorite parts about starting something like this, everyone has the handful of games that they like to play. And I think that YouTube's a great like discovery platform for like things that you might also enjoy. But that works two ways. I discover games as a result of working on this from all of y'all. It's been cool. I have like a wish list now of things that I totally need to try out. And it sounds like I might be adding Banished to it as well. Oh my God, get this copper out of here, please. We're almost out of our... God, we spent so many construction parts setting up. These ore sorters are 100 each. It's exhausting. 100 each, plus 10 for each of these. So much. Plus we finally had to pay off that loan I took, right? Can we get more? Yeah, buddy. Spend it. All right, let's get back out on the map. I think we're going to start running into battles we can't win yet. Yeah, they do. They got this little ocean spray kind of kicking out the back. That's cute. It's a good addition. Subtle, but it's there. They do need to make sure that it's not on when they're sitting still, though, because our cargo ships were kicking it off, sitting in their docks. Giddy up. There we go. So in lieu of a vehicle station, although we're going to put a fuel station directly adjacent to this in a moment, we'll at least cut our excavators' trips down a little bit, because this is literally as far as we could possibly ask them to travel across our footprint on the map. This poor fella has to go all the way out and around. Not what you want. It's good. We'll remember to spin that up in the proper playthrough starting tomorrow. Honestly, though, I think we're going to make 2 more of these instantly. It's just so much copper. And we're going to keep picking up more of it. This right here, right, this is what enables me to put off the copper transition for as long as I do. And it lulls me into this false sense of security that like, oh yeah, no, of course you're fine. We have so much copper sitting around. It's like been a pain the entire time to try to get rid of all of it. Why would you start producing more copper? And then like, well, because I'm about to run out of electronics. Oops, that snuck up on me. All right, now what do you need? You're still missing the limestone. So why are you missing the limestone? This should be accessible. I think we're just busy. Probably need some more trucks. Well, let's do it. Vehicle parts. Ah, yeah, because they're also stuck sitting on the ship. Fine. I will finally allow vehicle part production again. Hey, what did I say? When you start getting 2 out, that's when, we've done that a couple times already, but like that's when you really start catching these battles. Oh yeah, fuel station. I said I was going to build that. Oh, right. And that's construction parts 2, which we did not set up at all. So let's do that. I'm getting a little less best practicey and more sketchy, moving quickie, but it's fine. We just need a few of these. Damn it, I hate auto-assign products and I always forget to turn it off. This has become the bane of my existence. They just use whichever one is around if their own is clogged up. And the problem is, like, if it's clogged up, I don't want you going somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, the whole point is, okay, you have enough, so stop. Don't go dump your trash into someone else's sorter. It's a fine function. I just wish it weren't on by default. And maybe more importantly, I just wish I remembered to turn it off. Concrete. Time for rubber maker as well. Fine. And you know what? I always forget. This is actually good to set up like this because we could use this coal in both of these spots once we have belts in particular. Though actually, you know what? Let's just build it now. It'll be good to have it nearby if nothing else. How is coal sorting out here? Are you refueling? Yeah. Okay. No worries. Oops. And then copper, which, as always, I'm probably going to let sit for a while. Very good. Are you refueled but still dealing with all of this, of course? Look at all that. I would love to be using all of this iron scrap instead of having to mine. Not to mention the vehicle parts. So be it. I like this reservoir. This is nicely placed. This would make a great corn setup up here. Just saying. Something to think about. Did I not get the groundwater pump tech? I think I flirted with the idea a couple times and then just didn't. Grab it next. Oh yeah, wait. We never looked at this Captain of Industry sign. I mean, it's a big sign. It says Captain of Industry. Yeah, no, I mean, it does what it says on the tin. I don't know what I expected. That's cool, though. I'll have to give that a shot at some point. Is this almost done? Not quite. A lot of scrap. And yet, we still have more copper in here than we know what to do with. think what I might do at this point, do we have the belts? I might just turn that all into electronics. And we have that here. Yeah, it's all right. We just don't need it. How's this going? Oh, we're missing these. Yeah, we just have no parts. Let's get those moved up at least a little bit. And then perfect. There we go. We finally got the vehicle parts trickling in. Let's get 5. Massive truck increase. Yay, settlement number 2. Is this the yeah, it is. This second settlement I think is also always the same. Not in the same location, but like the second one you find. These quick trades were absolutely life-saving for us, and specifically this one in the corn playthrough, because we couldn't make our own diesel until we got to biofuel and corn seeds, which is all the way still out here. And that was tough. A lot of pressing this button right here, and then finally, now that we have that second settlement, the ability to press this button as well. Really glad we don't have to do that anymore. Half the reason I played a bunch yesterday was like, I just hadn't built a refinery in so long, because we couldn't. I was like, do I even remember how to make a refinery? I'm gonna have to make one here in the next couple of weeks. I better brush the dust off that binder in my brain. Turns out, it still works. It's still just a bunch of pipes. Back. More vehicle parts, perhaps. I think maybe also a rubber one would be good. Similarly, like, I'm just making this now, and we're going to immediately pause it so that this goal gets checked off, but yeah, not super necessary. How's our loan? Can I get away with more? Not really. What I could do, no, I couldn't. I can't even pay it off. I was going to say we could refinance, so to speak, consolidate our debt, open a new loan. Maybe? Maybe if I do it bit by bit. Yeah. Come on. Yes. There we go. Still won't give me more than that. That's fair. The amount you can get is based on your trade rep, but also on your own previous production, which makes sense. Banks will let you borrow more money if you make more money, so I suppose that's the same concept. How is our food sitch? Not great, Bob, but we can get the... Nice, there we go. We can get the green manure crop rotation in there. Pause that fella immediately. This, in case you don't know, the penalty for same crop in a row is like 50% more fertility. It's a huge amount. It's bad, obviously. Like the difference in maintaining this versus not is, despite the fact that it's actually actively growing potatoes almost half as often, right? Your 3-month cycle turns into a 5-month cycle with 40% inactivity. You increase your production by doing that. It is well worth doing. Come on, I want more. That's fine. let's say that one next. This has improved, but not completely. Got the Unity. Let's crank that up for a minute. That's bad. I should probably pay attention to that. 7-3 twice, 14-6. Yeah, we're okay. We'll be fine. Worst case scenario? Yeah, we can quick trade precious construction parts for a pile of potatoes. Tremendous deal. And over here, well, the better thing you can do even is to start, instead of the green manure, to actually rotate in another second crop, because then you're actively producing something while avoiding that penalty. Because green manure's value is really not in the fact that it does add some fertility, although it does, and it's non-zero. It's just that it's anything else other than potatoes. Like the 31.5% fertility drop that happens with a harvest of potatoes is like 45, nearly 50 instead, if it's 2 taters in a row. So it's good to be literally anything else. Variety is important in life. It's getting better. There we go. More battles. Guess we could set it up just to get it in motion, right? Clear that out. And flatten it there, I suppose. But we are still hurting on the construction parts, if I remember correctly. So probably not worth building quite yet. What I could do, it's low volume over here, and this is just really to get the reward. So maybe we don't mind sharing over here. Maybe. So yeah, let's just do that. Which does mean we're going to need to add another one of these guys in here, along with the 2 that he'll need, and probably 2 more to replace. So we could really use these 90 vehicle parts here. Can we please? Oh, geez. Of course, that was set up to be no import. That's a bummer. Let's get that all the way up, actually. And can we say keep empty be crazy high priority? Yeah, there we go. Would also like this to be crazy high priority. So suddenly everything's high priority, and that means that nothing is high priority. Typical. Classic. Not the first time I've done it, won't be the last. But we have coal now, right? No? Some? Some. So, and that's already full. I think what we're going to do is come on up here. Yeah, we'll just set it up. I like 5 tiles away, personally, because it leaves room for a set of lifts, a transit lane for all of the conveyors, and another set of lifts. So that's what I've been doing, 5 typically. So set that up there, and that will allow us to get rid of this. No food. That does seem bad. Oh, no water. Right. So, you get extra rain in the first, I think it's just 10 years. And then you kind of get used to the fact that you have extra rain, and then they take it away from you on Admiral. So, I think we are going to have to quick trade for some potatoes. The good news is we have plenty of spare people, so it's not the end of the world. Love it when a game like incentivizes you to act awfully. But we have the potatoes. They're here. They just need to come around. So that buffer should be okay. Tree harvester. More trees. I think we keep going in this area. Yeah, I think that's right. Do the foreground here. Okay, are we actually making enough though? 11 twice. Twice 7-3 rather. Yeah, no, we are. We are. It's not so much surplus that it's... Well, okay, that's the idealized version of this. If we don't have enough water, we're actually not. So that is worth keeping in mind. But I think we'll be okay. We're going to switch to alternating vegetables and probably grab irrigated farms after that. We have groundwater pumps as well. So maybe we will run the pipe like that. Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Do you think we can run the pipe all the way down? Actually, I've never really... Okay, we're going to go one over because that stupid tree's in the way. Kind of curious how well this will work. How about it? Cool. So we'll run that down. These will be irrigated farms eventually. They're not yet. So pause all that. But I kind of like that. I mean, not that execution. That is sloppy and gross, but I like the idea of running it down here. I do want to make use of... I mean, you can't build vertically, obviously, in Captain of Industry, but that doesn't mean that verticality isn't like something to consider. So I talked about it a little bit earlier with like the elevated train stations being something that you can do now with bridges. Kind of want to try to do more of that here as well. I liked that like subtly in the Dragontail map. It, you know, you went up onto this plateau and then down onto that one and yada yada yada. So I think it's good. Oh man, people are starving. That's a bummer. Guys, make more potatoes. Come on. It's not that hard. Go, go, go. It's fine. We still have 38 more. Veggies, veggies. Let them eat veggies. Sure could use some construction parts. Where are we spending them that we don't want to? We definitely don't need construction parts too right now. That is not the issue. Are we low on concrete? Yeah, we might be. Is this a cascading concrete slabs issue? No workers on account of everyone's starving. Let's go. So we'll grab some concrete there. In fact, probably a lot of it would be worth doing. Because we need construction parts for quick trading. All right, there we go. It's something. But it's nothing unless we get water. There we go. Crisis, not averted, diverted, I guess. There we go. We're fine. Everything's fine. We can even go back, pick up enough people. See? We are going to have to do something about... Why is this not... I guess it's just too far out here and our truck network is too busy. Good to know. Oh, and we're actually going to need a second market here as well on account of vegetables are a separate crop. Are you unloaded yet? Still not really. What I might do is out here, this as well, but with iron scrap. That would be a nice thing to get out of the shipyard, at least. And of course, we still have a whole bunch of copper. It's going to take him long enough. We might as well go explore somewhere else too. Did we get this going? Yeah, but we still don't have an excavator. You know what? Let's just swap them back and forth. We don't really need much of him. Just need to quickly do this performatively for our bonus, and then we'll move him back. Yeah. Sad. Yeah, I mean, I think, ideally we'd move these farms up here to where this reservoir is in the first place. It's going to a little bit abut the manufacturing zone, but I also kind of, who cares, right? What are you going to do? Move it all the way out there? It's not that big a deal. But none of that matters until these are irrigated farms, which they aren't. It won't be quite yet, because irrigated farms also require construction parts too, which we paused so that we could quick trade for potatoes so our people wouldn't starve. Catch 22. There's our fires being put out. Typical. We can do a little bit more of that. Another thing we should probably do, and what I tend to try to do in this situation, we would be more than happy to quick trade wood. We're trying to clear these woods out, but we actually need a place that's wood storage in order to be able to quick trade it. Technically we have 0 in inventory, even though we have backed up tree harvesters. Did you get this built yet? Yes, you did. Very good. So that should help clear this out a bit. Losing more battles. Yep. Still a few places we can explore, but yeah, our horizons are rapidly narrowing for exploration. Cool though. That's helpful. And I think that should finally bring the friggin' vehicle parts that have been trapped on the ship into the base, which would be nice. Kind of feel like we could do that real quick. Lord knows we still have copper to use. Nearly home. Very good. How are the veggies? They're there. That's good. So the other thing that's nice about this, it spreads our food demand, right, across 2 different crops. So that does take the edge off the potatoes. 4142 though. So one farm, actually, right, is technically capable of handling the demand of both of these. So that helps a lot, and is why our food has improved. Second crop, I'm telling you, it's key. It's also what made our corn playthrough so vexing. load, please and thanks. Very good. That should all pass through pretty quickly here. And we'll still have just a ton of copper and rubber. Wonderful. Yeah, we don't have any storage out there either. Sure, do it. Coal, get out of here. Why do you have coal here? I think what we're going to do is say only if we have more than 20 spare. I'd like to have that in case of, say, a quick trade need, among other things. And irrigated farms, which construction parts do, as we said. So that'll take a minute. Time for tools, time for captain's office. Cool. This is good. I feel like I have a feel for the dynamics of the shape of this map, if that makes sense. Where I think it'll make sense to build things, where our pinch points are going to come from, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to start this proper tomorrow. It should be fun. It should be a good playthrough. I am looking forward to it. I definitely am. But I am also running up on, I don't know, how long has it been here? Oh, yeah, about 4 hours. Okay, so that is probably about time to call it quits for me. I need to preserve some level of brain activity so that I can actually put together a decent episode 1 for y'all pretty soon. So I am looking forward to it. This was really fun though. I really enjoyed just diving in and figuring out what was fun here and how this changes the gameplay. I'm looking for. I think it's going to give us a lot of cool tools for a pretty fun base here. It's got me excited. I'm definitely excited. It's I feel like re-inspired for the game. I was still playing the crap out of it. I was still enjoying the crap out of it, but it just feels like new things are possible now. And it's got me chewing and spinning on what it is that we'll do first and all of that. So I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the heck out of this. I hope you did too. It's always fun to hop in here and have fun with the chat and interact with people. Comment section's great, of course, too, but something about chat, real life, real time, all of that. So thanks as always for joining. We'll try to do more of this. I want to still do the edited video format series in general, but we should mix in more live stuff, whether it's as a part of that series or just, I don't know, something else maybe even. But I've really enjoyed this, and it seems like people are also enjoying it. So we'll have to do more. But yeah. Cheers. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy your own playthroughs when you are home, off work, maybe on your other screen right now, whatever it is. Dive on in, enjoy yourself, and share whatever you learn, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, there's a random Captain of Industry sign that is hidden in the tech tree now or whatever. I'm sure we didn't find everything in this playthrough, so if you do find something, post about it. Put it in the Discord. Hit us up. Put it on the channel somewhere. We'll see if we can't incorporate it in one way or another. It's fun to discover it all together. So, but yeah, thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate it, and more soon. Keep your eyes out. We're gonna hit the ground running. I think I'm really excited to be starting a new one. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But hey, until then, have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye.